Hi, everybody. Welcome. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. We are here. We are at the end of season 1 of Stranger Things. It has been a couple of weeks. Some people cried, some people laughed, but we are all here at the end together. So before I bring everybody on, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and helping me get to 1,000 subs by my birthday. We'll be very grateful. So without further ado, let me bring on everybody because nobody can be seen right now. Hold on. I'll never get used to streaming. Hello, gentlemen. Hello.
How's everyone doing?
Hello.
Hello.
What's up?
Unless somebody else identifies as a woman, I'm the only woman on the stream. I just realized.
What does your dog identify as?
It is girl.
Oh, never mind. Okay, I was gonna say, I'm sure my mates in a group chat would appreciate. Do you know, I can identify as a woman if you need a little bit of, if you just need to inflate a statistic here or there. It's okay.
Nadia's more than enough woman for all of us.
There you go.
Oh,
you know what? Okay, you know what? All right, there you go. That's takes a weight off my back.
Well, we are here, guys. End of the season 1. I didn't think we could get here, but we did. We managed. We still got 3 more seasons to go.
Oh, we do.
Yeah. Is it?
We could skip to 4 if you want. I'd be okay with that.
No,
you could skip 3. Season 2 is good.
Sketch will argue we have to watch 3.
We'll get there eventually. Although I have heard arguments made to just do it. You can just watch season 1 and 4 together, and it's still pretty cohesive.
I have heard the same argument, and I kind of agree.
I see the logic there. It kind of works, and it hurts me to say that.
I would be open to going straight into 4 if we want to. We can talk about it backstage and then figure out. That way, we'd be definitely in time for season 5.
Right.
I meant to ask that if there was a season 5 because you said I think did you say that like the whole show was out, and then I could have sworn there was supposed to be a 5th season.
5th season's not out yet. It's supposed to be, I think, the fall of this year. They're aiming for, which is weird because usually they are midsummer.
It's July
releases.
Usually, yeah.
Midsummer's Eve.
Yeah, no, I don't think. Well, it's a little crazy like that. No, it's usually around 4th of July, like Nick said, usually around there. But maybe because the last couple of seasons are themed almost around summer break.
Right.
This new one, because it's not. Maybe that's why they're postponing it till fall, or they have still more reshoots and stuff to do.
Aren't these going to be like mini movies?
They're supposed to
be
like an hour and something long each episode.
Yikes.
Yeah, I mean they call
hours
could be good
footage.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
Lord.
They name each season. It's always like a little pet peeve for me. But they name each season. They don't call them seasons. He calls them Stranger Things 1, Stranger Things 2, and it's like movies. And every time I sat there like, it's not a movie, it's a TV show. Why is it always just called 2 and not season 2?
Well, 4 was split into 2 halves, and the later half of 4 was, I think the last episode was an hour and a half almost.
It was
The last episode was like
2 episodes,
2.5 hours or something crazy.
Yeah. I noticed. I thought that was weird. Star Wars: The Bad Batch, like the first episode of that was like 2 hours. I sat there like, this is a TV show with a 2-hour episode. All right, okay.
Well,
which is strange because I wonder what Netflix has in plan after Stranger Things, because Stranger Things, I think, is the only thing, honestly, keeping people to the platform, or going to have people come back to the platform at least for this year, or maybe Squid Games 2 or 3, whatever.
I'd say it's one of the most popular things. I like in terms of it's got the least clash. It's got the least it's the least controversial back and forth. Like, you get shows that pull in more numbers. I think I don't know. I don't actually look at the numbers. You get shows that pull in bigger numbers, but there's like a bigger conversation, both positive and negative about it. Whereas I think with Stranger Things, it's a little smaller, but there's more positive than negative talk about it for the most part. I think.
Yeah,
from an outsider's perspective, at least.
Most people like it except for season 3. I liked all the seasons, but season 3 tends to be the least favorite of everyone's. I would say in a majority of it, but I sad to say the Stranger Things store out here in Las Vegas has permanently closed, which is so stupid with season 5 right around the corner coming out. So that's disappointing. But I know, right? Let's say hi to the chat. Rio was here first. Evening, Nadia. How are you tonight? I'm great. It's Friday and I'm not at my job. That's the way to look at it.
That's the way it could be.
Lane guy, yeah. Sketch more like Late and Will Byers. Got him. Got him. Dieter's here. Hi, Dieter. In earlier part season 1, I actually felt sorry for Joyce and Jonathan because in real life, Will would have been dead for real, and Joyce actually would have gone completely insane. Yeah, that's a good point, Richard. Yeah. Kids back then, serial killers and people who can abduct people a lot easier back then than now. I like this one. Trump Daddy. I'm signing an executive order that the next season will be the last of Stranger Things with no reboots. Well, Trump Daddy, good news for you. The Duffer Brothers said there will be no spin-offs, no continuing story, which is surprising to me. I feel like they should have maybe continued it in comic books, but last season is it. It's the end.
For now.
For now.
Unless they can't get a better job. And it's been 10
Toxic.
years. And let's talk about it again.
Yeah. Toxic Tony's calling you out here.
I know we follow each other on Twitter, and I was supposed to do a review of his movie, but I thought I was supposed to wait until it got a wide American release. So he's been seeing me pop up. I guess his notifications keep having me pop up on all these streams, and he thinks that I'm pulling a George R.R. Martin. I'm really not.
His movie, The Trainer.
Yeah, The Trainer.
Yeah, I have it in my list to watch too because I remember him leaving a comment a couple streams ago, and I was going to check it out.
Stranger
Tony,
Things, Anthony. Stranger Things right now. It's Nadia's show. It's not my show.
Yeah, Tony, I'll watch your movie if you want to come on and talk about it afterwards. Happy to have you on. So
he's supposed to be doing an interview with Lance here pretty soon. Maybe you can jump in on that.
Janice
that'd be
here.
cool.
Hey, Janice.
Janice, I see you. I'm here, and you know what I want. Well, May's here to accompany that. She wants BH.
BH. Yeah.
Butthole.
Mm-hmm. May, stop licking.
Wow. That lined up perfectly. Well played.
All right. So let's get into it. So chapter 7, the bathtub. The government comes searching for 11. 11 looks for Will and Barb in the Upside Down. So we actually finally, the characters get confirmation that Barb is KO'd. So let me pull up the episode. I don't know about the rest of you, but I got pretty emotional with this episode, but I am also a girl. So, this is the better
because
one.
of
There
Barb?
we go. No, because of Joyce and 11's relationship in the last 2 episodes. Joyce almost treating her like a daughter, like a surrogate daughter right away, and actually giving that motherly love to her that she's probably never experienced in her life. So it actually made me tear up. I forgot how serious this season was. This season is pretty dark, and I mean, 11 kills like what, 10 people? Just blows their
in a room
brains
at once. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you get into season 2 and 3. 4's a little bit more, but it's a little bit more campier, right? But you forget, like, she's a killer. Cold stone killer on it. So Nick, because I think Sketch is gone. What did you think initially of this episode?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good penultimate episode. And you know, when I went back and watched it, I mean, I remember when I first watched this season, as all of us did when it came out, like a decade ago, whatever it was. You know, I was just honestly blown away from these kids acting, and obviously, like you know that Will's alive by this point. I think we already said. Well, I wasn't here last week to talk about what happens in 5 and 6, but yeah, honestly, with that confirmation, you're just kind of expecting to see what 11's going to do, how things are going to kind of go, like, wrap up into the finale. But I mean, it's definitely very well done. You know, I really don't have anything bad to say about this episode. I mean, even in general for this first season.
Okay. Zax?
Well, at first I want to just make a comment that if Nancy had eaten some of Barb's lunches over time, they might both be alive today. So, like,
wow,
part of this is on Nancy. Like, she does ruin lives, and yeah, she let Barb. I bet you she gave Barb her chips too. Like, if she had extra chips or a cookie, that went to Barb. And look what happens to Barb now, forever in the bottom of a pool.
Swimming for eternity.
That's right, and never getting in shape. So that's I want to get that out of the way
Okay.
for now. But great 2 episodes. These are like they really like they pull you all the way in. This show does a great job of sucking you into these characters, and the amount of danger that you feel for these kids and how you actually want them all to not die is something that other shows could do a better job with. Especially 11. Like, she's so vulnerable yet so powerful, and she's been so abused and her entire life, and really outside of that, it's all been painful too. There's been a few moments of like grace for her, but and now these last 2 episodes where she has to make the ultimate sacrifice ish until she didn't, and waffles were there, and that was fine. But I thought these were great. I thought this was a fantastic season of television, and they wrapped it up beautifully, I thought.
Yeah. Again, I think this season is particularly dark, darkest of all of them, and I think it has the most heart towards the end of this season. More so. It might change depending on my rewatch with the others, but I don't remember this being. I don't remember this made me cry. I don't remember the other end of episodes making me cry, even when Hopper was supposedly dead in season 3. So, Toonie, what about you with this episode, The Bathtub?
So it's relatively fresh in my memory because I had to catch up pretty recently. So I wanted to go back to one of the things that stood out to me, and you pretty much summarized it near the beginning, was the relationship between Joyce and 11. And I want to get a little bit more specific. It's when they're sat down together and 11 is getting ready to go into the upside down. She's about to try and contact Will and Bob. It's specifically the words that Joyce chooses to say to 11 and the way that she looks at her like a mother. That's I think what resonated with what resonated with 11. It's if at any point you feel too scared or that you're in danger or that you can't do it, let me know immediately and I'll get you out. And it's that kind of thing that you see. You see the relationship with Dr. Brenner, is it?
Yeah.
If you even want to categorize that as a relationship, it's whenever she didn't give a result, he just sent her back to this block. Yeah. Like this, there wasn't even, was it a cube or a cuboid of a room? I can't remember, but there was like a small bed there. That was it. Well, he locked her away. He did what she did what she was supposed to, and if she didn't get the results that he wanted, it was back to the block. And then like you said, Nadia, it's having someone specifically put her what feelings and mental state and safety as a priority. That's what like got through to her, and it hit her. It resonated with her. She wasn't expecting it. Took her by surprise.
Yeah. Man, hopefully I don't cry on this stream. Toxic.
Yeah, to kind of caveat on what Nick said, it's the penultimate episode, and it has penultimate episodes always have the thankless task of setting everything up for the final push into the season finale or series finale, depending on what it may be. And I think it does a pretty good job. I'm pretty happy with it. There's a few nitpicks and flaws that I have with it, but it's overall it's a good episode. It's the small gripes that I have are not enough to make me not enjoy it. I think I enjoyed it a little less on the rewatch in order to do this stream than I liked it back in 2016 when I originally watched it. 2016 when I originally watched it. Holy crap. But yeah.
I mean, look, you see her on the screen. She's married right now. She's grown up,
I know.
Married, the whole thing.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Sketch, initial thoughts on this episode.
Episode 7. I like this episode. I like a lot of the stakes that they set up going into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree. So the episode opens up from the last episode where the boys are reunited with 11, except for Lucas. Lucas actually redeems himself in this episode. He's the one that warns the guys that in a sense the bad men are coming. It begins with him heading towards Mike's house via his walkie-talkie, urgently warning Mike and Dustin and 11, and the kids realize they're being hunted, so they got a GTFO, which is interesting that they leave his mother. just don't go like, hey mom, bad people are coming. You should come with us. They just like leave her for
Later.
it. So yeah, later Gators.
Yeah,
We're
I remember. Was it Mike? The thing that he said specifically was, "Mom, if anyone asks where we are, tell them I've left the country." And then
Yeah.
was just like, "Yeah, all right, I guess I'll let you leave the house and not question that."
I know it would be extremely corny, but correct me if I'm wrong, this season's supposed to take place in what, 82?
83.
83. So
Thank you.
would it have been too out of place for one of them to do a "come with me if you want to live" line?
Well, since the Terminator didn't come out till the following year, probably would have.
See, it was just later. We're close.
They could have done it anyway.
Should have just done it.
It would honestly have fit in season 2 or 3, given the circumstances that some of the characters find themselves in.
Yeah.
There's the infamous where is it? There. Whoa. I landed it. Wow. Right on the first try.
Perfect.
Yeah. Reminiscent of E.T. to me.
E.T., yeah.
And also the Losers Club when they're riding their bikes as well. Hi Ho Silver, if anybody gets that reference. Toxic probably does. And the guys are after him and she flips the van, which is slowly starting to show her powers more and more, how strong she is. I love this scene. This scene was great. And I think it's practical effect from what I remember looking at behind the scenes for it. That they actually flipped a van over, not over the kids, but they obviously safely. Yeah, obviously saved. Big Ship just became a member. Thank you, Big Ship. Thank you so much.
What's up, Shippy?
Yo, Ship.
The biggest ship.
The biggest ship. I hear that about you, Big Ship. For that,
The biggest ship.
I'll give you
5 gifts.
How many children are you friends with?
And you gifted 5 horror with Nads. Remember? Oh, now they say horror with Nads. They don't say Nadia anymore. Thank you, Big Ship. Man, you're awesome.
He is.
Let's see. I got.
Did you select those ads on purpose?
I've got quite a few of them. I've one that's one of my favorites. It's whoever does the next super chat or membership, I'll play it. But thank you, Big Ship.
Give Nadia more money.
Yes, give me more. Well,
do it. Give her more money, please.
All super chats are going to go to May's treat budget. So any super chats tonight, I will actually go buy May dog biscuits and a toy or something.
And if not, she will starve, and it's your fault.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's sleeping right now.
In fact, you have to watch that dog starve.
Cue the Sarah McLachlan music.
Yeah.
I will have no part in this heresy.
So, but thank you, Big Ship. All right. So Lucas redeems himself. Still not my favorite character, but I think the writers and showrunners just lost what they were going to do with him with the rest of the episodes. So, rest of the seasons, because I feel this is his pinnacle moment, other than in season 4, where he, in a sense, rescues them because he warns them, and then season 2 and 3, he's just kind of tossed to the side. His sister actually gets more of a spotlight, I feel, in the later seasons.
Girl power.
Yeah,
That's true.
Hell yeah.
I think for Lucas, he was just like I don't know, like a little bit of a catalyst with Max to bring her character forward a little bit more because of like the complicated relationship that Mike and 11 have because of Hopper and like the whole breakup sequence. It's like, oh yeah, I think. What is it? Lucas says like, oh yeah, Max and I have like broken up like 5 times. It's okay, bro. Like, but yeah, it's it kind of falls off after season
I guess
one.
I always thought that Lucas was the doubting Thomas character that you have to have in sci-fi, fantasy, horror like that. You always have to, because like everybody else is kind of a true believer. Obviously, 11 is the, she is the, whatever, the MacGuffin. And then, everybody else kind of falls in line. I mean, I guess to an extent, Hopper is a doubting Thomas, but he comes along pretty good. But Lucas stays consistent with, he's always the Debbie Downer in the group. He doesn't really believe in all the other stuff, which is weird because he plays Dungeons and Dragons just like the other kids do. But I think you kind of have to have that character so they're all not just agreeing all the time. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you characterize them. Oh, go on, Nadia. You were going to say something.
Yeah, you just became a member as well. Thank you. You didn't have to, but
that was supposed to happen a little way sooner when we were actually on the topic. It wasn't meant to come through this late, but oh well.
It's okay. It's okay. I have I think
Barb. Hey, Nancy.
Wait, no, it's this one. Sorry.
Hold on.
Sad.
Yeah. Go ahead. You were going to say something, Toonie?
Are you sure you wouldn't rather go first?
No. That was my interruption. Just to highlight that.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah. You're good.
What were we talking about? Oh yeah, Lucas and the art of the. Not the audience, the person who prompts character discussions that explain things for the audience is what I was trying to go for. It's as long as you characterize it well, which I'd say they did well with Lucas. He gives question. He basically asks what the audience is thinking for then the other characters to then ponder that question and then answer it. Instead of all the characters. Because then we know what other characters are thinking rather than just sort of being along for the ride, so to speak.
Yeah. I would almost say Lucas is the audience, but I don't think he is the audience because the audience believes, right? We're all seeing what each of these characters as they're split up. And this is the start of this whole thing where they do more in seasons 2, 3, and 4, where they split up the groups. And then eventually at the end, the final season, they all are together again. So it's just a journey split between all three of them. I will play this one. It's very much an ET reference. Boom.
Yep.
Yeah. Also didn't realize how dark Dr. Brenner is. Like, I knew he was a bad guy, but when he, at the end of either this episode or the other one where he cradles her and's like, I'll take you back. I'll fix you. Don't worry. It is not a way of like, oh, you're hurt. I'm worried about you. It's I see what your abilities are. I'm going to utilize it. I'll fix you so that you can do it again.
Yeah. It's the word. It's where it shows I'll fix you. You're like, ooh, that's not, it's a choice of words.
Yeah. He's creepy. Hey, real quick. Did anybody else get the vibe, especially on a rewatch, that like, what if 11 didn't flip that van? Were they going to just smash some of those kids into the pavement, or what was the deal there?
Oh yeah, they would have easily probably. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't take out her mom and Mike's mom and such when they showed up at the door looking for everybody.
I mean, they did with Benny. No, not Benny. Benny. Yeah, Benny. Yeah.
R.I.P. Benny.
Yeah, he was a good guy, man. I mean, if we go back, and you guys have already done the episodes 1 and 2 discussions, weren't you? But I was gonna say, I suppose I'll try and keep it brief. I liked Benny. It was a nice little subversion of that trope where they'll often go the Terminator route, where they'll have the stranger, They'll have a character. They'll have one of the main characters encounter a stranger, and the stranger's like dead mean, and he sort of gets what he deserves. Do you know what I mean? Like another show might have had it that he was rude to 11, and then he got, I don't know, pushed across a table into a wall or something like that. You know, the kind of thing that Terminator would do, where he like puts the cigarette out on it. He puts the cigar out on his chest. Whereas Benny was like really nice to her. He gave her food. He tried to make her feel safe, and then lo and behold, government agents came up. It was nice to see somebody that felt like a genuinely like a decent guy, rather than just your typical disposable Yeah, like the disposable one-time bad guy character, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah.
most of these people that run across 11 throughout this, they just see her as a child. They don't see her as like
Yeah.
a scientific experiment or an assassin that they're growing. They just see her as an 11-year-old child that
Yeah.
needs protection. They actually do the right thing as adults should, and like wonder what's wrong with this
Yeah.
kid. Take care of this kid
Yeah.
and try
Yeah,
to
that's
figure
what I
it
mean.
out.
Report the
he's
missing child to the police.
yeah. That's the thing.
Hi,
Is that's
Jenna.
Hi, Jenna.
Go ahead, Toonie. Sorry.
well, that was pretty much it. It was pretty much just doing what I always do, which is just rephrase everything that everyone's already said, but in my own words, because I don't know, it's just my autistic brain. But yeah, nothing new. That everyone's already said it. It's nothing new.
You're in good company. The tism
Yeah.
is strong in this panel.
I think what makes Matthew Modine's performance here special, and his ability to exude warmth while being clinical and cold. Like, he seems like he's being a nice guy. He seems like he's caring if you're just watching him, but what he's doing is the opposite of that. And it's a different level of evil, I think. And that's why he's able to work with these kids as long as he can, because he makes them feel like, okay, well, this isn't going to be so bad. And it's always as bad or worse than they think it's going to be.
worse. Yeah.
Right.
Has he always played villains? Does anybody know
No.
this? No.
Very
Okay.
seldom. Very seldom. He was the romantic hero in a lot of stuff in the 80s, like Vision
right.
Quest, and he was the goofball hero in Full Metal Jacket. He was,
Yeah.
in the 90s, he had played a lot of dad roles and things like that. He was the goofball good guy in Married to the Mob. This is I don't think this is his only villain role, but it's one of the few, if any.
I think that's right. Yeah.
I have words about. Don't worry, Richard. I have words about Hopper. I completely forgot that he fucking turned her in. In this, that was granted. I can see the logic. He's looking after Joyce to get Will back, so he doesn't know 11 like he does in the later seasons. But still, I was like, ooh, what a shitty move, Hopper.
He's trying to hook up.
I think it's a little more nuanced than that. I think on that, I don't know do you want to wait until we get to that scene to talk about that, or you want to do it
Sure
now?
You can talk about it now if it's fine.
I think you got to remember Hopper's ex-military, and I think he knows some of it. I mean, they were in a really untenable situation. I mean, they had him and Joyce, and very, very easily could have just unalived the both of them. I mean, at this point, the thing is getting out of hand, and these people who are basically like Stephen King's The Shop, DSI, Department of Scientific Intelligence. That's basically what I think they're based on. It's basically like a scientific CIA, and they were basically just going to get rid of those guys. And I think Hopper knew that. And I think his only card to play was, hey, hopefully the girl has enough power and the kids are smart enough to either get out of there or, she can fend for herself. But if we don't do something and I don't play some kind of a card, they're just going to execute the both of us and find the kids anyways. So I feel that's where his head was at. I don't think him keeping quiet would have done anything except for him and Joyce ending up being, suicided by the, by the spooks. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I can logically think it out, right, on it, but it's a shitty move. Dieter, I see what you're saying. Everybody watching, there's 51 people watching between YouTube and X. Those on X, come on over to YouTube. We don't bite. There's actually a poll on the YouTube end over there. Who's the MVP? There's Nancy, Steve. I don't know who else I've got on there, but 11, and I think Joyce Hopper. Hopper. Thank you. So please come on over. Thank you guys so much. Who is watching? I know 29% of you watch my videos, but you don't subscribe.
Bastards.
I know, right? Unacceptable. And I know those aren't alt counts. So so come on over. This is a great shot.
Joyce Pog.
That is a perfect shot. Wow.
That could basically be the thumbnail for Joyce for all 4 seasons. That's just Joyce.
Yes.
That's Joyce when
Magnets.
she realizes. That's Joyce when she realizes that Hopper told the government where 11 was.
Oh,
Yeah.
20 things about Stranger Things season 5 you didn't know.
Yeah, it's I would say though that the only thing that we're really, because you can rationalize Hopper's decision in that moment. It's just that the show doesn't. If that make that, I think that's the only real problem, is that there isn't a scene where he would have taken 1 or 2 lines of dialogue because he's in the room with Joyce. He could have just said it to Joyce that, you know, like, obviously, so if we get out of this alive, I'm obviously not just going to leave 11 to the government and like never, you know, and like not tell anyone. He does tell. It even says to those agents that he's got a friend in the media who's going to basically blow that entire institution wide open. So it's not that I really think that his snitching on 11 was incredibly short term. I don't think that he had I don't think he intended to just forget about her, you know, like turn her over and then forget it ever happened. I don't think he ever intended to do that.
No, I logically can see the reason why he would do it, and also he's looking for Will. He's got Joyce tied to his hip, so his priority is, I need to keep Joyce safe, but also find her kid, or find an answer to what happened to her kid. He doesn't. There's no relationship that he does in the later seasons as a surrogate father to her. Still think it's a shitty move. Still think it's a shitty move. Still, it could be the right move, but it could also be a shitty move. They both can be parallel to each other. So, I also, by the way, Mom is great in this episode, Mrs. Byers.
yep.
However, Dad is not Byers. Sorry. Why do I keep mixing up their
Wheeler.
Wheeler?
Yeah, that's
Wheeler.
it. Yeah.
Thank you. Mrs. Wheeler's great. She's great in the last episode too, when she comforts her son. Mr. Wheeler, Jesus.
Does he get characterized? Does he get characterized like any further in the later seasons? Because he just he was very one note
in the
this.
background. Yeah,
Right.
no, he's
Mr.
always
Wheeler?
one note.
Or
Mr. Wheeler.
Oh yeah, no, he's a background character, really.
Mrs. Wheeler kind of comes a little bit more into the forefront, especially when we get Billy introduced in the later seasons.
Yep.
Mr. Wheeler is this. That's all you can get.
He's a cut. He's a bit of a cut.
face all the time.
She looks good in the bathing suit. You know?
She looks great. This actress is a cutie.
Cara Buono.
I'll take
she was in Sopranos. I mean, you know, that point.
Also, I feel in this scene, he should be the one stepping up, be like, where the fuck is my kid? What's going on? And she is the one that's taking charge.
Yeah, I think that was the word I was looking for, by the way. I mean, he is one note, but the thing that I was looking for was like, it's very passive. Like, it's almost like he doesn't eat. It's almost like he could be blown away in the wind. Do you know what I mean? He's just, there's no need for him to be there. He just didn't do anything.
I'm very surprised they didn't divorce them in one of the following seasons.
Yeah,
kind of freed her up a little bit.
I mean, you gotta be careful. That paperclip she keeps in the back of Ray, by the way, it's a secret weapon.
Nancy too, man. She's an MVP. I respect her a lot more now, rewatching this first season. I thought I completely forgot how much of a badass she is.
Yeah, she is. Good
She has
character.
a part.
Yep.
Walk him down, Wheeler.
Walk him down.
And what did I say today? Charlie Heaton, who plays Jonathan Byers. I told my husband today, I was like, God took him and said, listen, I'm going to give you talent to be an actor, but I'm not going to give you the looks. So you're going to have to really work for it.
Whoa.
This kid does not, please.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong, Nadia. That's
all right. Even the hair, even if you remove the haircut, it's pretty bad. Okay.
Yeah. Listen, this is the kind of face that the
Yikes.
term pigeonholing was made for.
Okay. I mean, he's a great actor. He plays Jonathan great. I've seen him in other stuff. He's great. He's got to work for it. Means he's got to actually have talent.
They cast actors who are distinct looking, and they're not attractive in the normal way. And you're guaranteed those kids are going to grow up to be funny looking. All of them. They're doomed. Yeah. They're all doomed to be funny looking, except for maybe Lucas. You know,
Finn is definitely one. That's,
yeah,
it's a hard
looks
one.
The same.
Yeah, he had no chance.
He had no chance.
No.
He's doomed. Doomed to
Uh-oh.
ever be a
Did we
baby
lose
face.
Toxic? Must
This is coming out a little bit.
He's
Oh.
rebooting. Yeah.
Do you think
Okay,
Troy's gonna?
alright.
Do you think Troy's gonna grow up to have like a third facial expression? By the way, that's like not sad and in pain / angry.
I mean, the kid got his arm broken and he
Oh, yeah.
peed himself in front of all of his high school friends. I would be switching schools, or I would be homeschooled at this point.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, in these scenes, I mean, the fight, like that, you know, he's acting the way he's supposed to. It's just I'm trying to think of a moment where he's seemed like a normal, happy kid, or you know, it's just he's always sort of in this scene, for example, he's shocked, he's you know pretty sad and embarrassed, and then in the other scenes, he's always got that smug smirk on his face because he's the bully and that's his character. And I'm just like, you know, I wonder if in the later seasons is he going to be a third thing? Is he gonna, or is he just going to do the same thing?
I don't think he comes back, or if he does, it's very brief. From what I don't remember, this kid the bullies coming back.
Mm.
They kind of in the later seasons just focus on more so on the core group of kids and adults that they have, with a couple more introductions with Maya Hawke, her character, the
Robin.
Ginger, and then
Joseph
who's
Quinn.
the Russian counterpart, the connection, the dude, the crazy dude. Thank you.
Red
so they have
Guardian.
like, thank you, Red Guardian. They have some like some characters they bring in
Maybe
to
Murray?
the fold. But yes, Murray. Thank
Murray,
you. Man, my brain is just not on it today. For some reason.
It happens.
Richard did ask, what do you guys think is Winona Ryder's best performance or best work, and why?
Ooh.
It's definitely not Dracula.
I only know her from this, so this.
Really?
Edward Scissorhands, maybe.
That's a pretty good one.
Heathers.
Beetlejuice. Heathers are good. Heathers.
Heathers.
Good.
Gotta be. It can't be anything but Heathers, can it?
It's right up
Let me
there
see.
for sure.
And when I say
Yeah.
Beetlejuice, I mean the first Beetlejuice.
First, yeah.
Yeah.
sure.
Not
Oh, I
the
watched
Maybe
that
Girl
recently. I didn't
Interrupted
recognize her.
was pretty good.
Girl Interrupted is really good too. Yeah. Wow. Oh, she was in Alien Resurrection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
That was the Call? Oh, okay. I would
I
say
mean, that's
Heathers.
Yeah, I would say Heathers or Girl Interrupted.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I would say Heathers probably. She's great in this. I think she's showcased it very well in this. I think this is pretty much all she's probably going to do. I don't know if she's planning on doing more shows or movies after this.
I mean, this
be
definitely
curious
gave
to
her
see what
that
she does.
resurgence, you know. So
Yes.
She was excellent in this, I think.
Oh,
There
you
was
know what? She was really good in that movie with Vince Vaughn and Paul Blart, where she was like cheated on the husband and she was with Channing Tatum and Vince Vaughn is the friend and didn't know how to tell him. She's really good in that.
I don't know which one that one is.
I don't know the name off the top of my head. It's like 2013, 2012, something around there.
There's Homefront,
Homefront?
Turks. Turks and the Killer here with me. Frankenweenie too. She was the voice in there as well.
I don't know if I've seen her boobs. That's concerning.
I would say if you want a funny movie to watch with her in it, watch Destination Wedding with Keanu Reeves.
Oh, I think I've seen that.
That is a funny movie. Like, I don't know. I enjoyed that. I was like, really like one of those movies where I'm like, oh wait, they were in a movie together, and then you're just kind of taken surprised by it.
I'm saying, like, what kind of movie is this?
It's funny. I would. It's a short movie too, but I would check it out if you get like an hour and a half.
What was it about?
Oh, Welcome Home. Roxy Carmichael was great. I remember that back in the day.
It's a rom-com, but like they're dramatic. Like I know that I forgot if they know the same person, but like they end up having to like go to the same wedding, and they just like despise each other. Like they like to sit next to each other on the plane. Like they don't like each other, but yeah, there's this like sexual tension between them. It's funny because like it's you get a little bit of this Joyce type of vibe from her in that movie, but then you get like classic Keanu as well. And I don't know, they vibe really well together, honestly. Like it was an enjoyable rom-com, which I don't say too often.
Well, they were married on Dracula's set, so
That's true.
Yeah, someone in chat says The Dilemma. Is that the movie you're thinking of, or are you sure
The
it's Destination
Dilemma.
Marriage?
Yes.
No, yeah, I think talking about the dilemma. Yeah,
Right. Okay.
yeah, Vince Vaughn and what's his face,
Paul Blart.
James, Kevin James,
okay.
Jennifer Connelly, Channing Tatum,
The
Queen
mall cop,
Yep,
Mall Blart.
King of Queens,
King of Queens. Yeah,
classic show.
Right now, I'm rewatching 30 Rock, which
Oh,
has
wow.
some really great dialogue in the first couple of seasons. That I remember Alec Baldwin allegedly killed a woman. So
His finger did.
That's right.
Sure. Poor King Steve over here, man. Look at that face. Jonathan
Yeah.
did a number on him.
He got his ass.
Yeah, he
beat.
did.
Got his ass beat.
This is where the trajectory of him never winning a fight begins.
That's like a trope with every season that Steve gets his ass
Mhm.
kicked.
They call it out in season 3. I think he says it himself.
By the way, rewatching this, and I know it's in the last episode, but the fact that she still ends up back with him when there's chemistry between her and Jonathan, Nancy, I'm talking about
Mhm.
the scene where she sits
Yeah.
down on the couch next to him and stuff. When I first watched that, I was really surprised, very surprised that after all they went through, that she still just ended up with Steve, didn't end up with Jonathan. I mean, I know eventually she does, but that I thought was a weird twist towards the end with the two of them. But here he is basically realizing he is an asshole and that his friends are assholes.
Yeah, he's gotten carried away with the culture of his friends that like he's part of what makes them who they are, and they they're all just sort of what's the word? They're all just fitting with each other's stereotypes. He does what they do what he does. And it's all just that, and then you get to this scene that you've paused on where he gets confrontational. Now I'd say starting a fight with somebody when you probably not even properly see straight in real life, not the way to go about it, which is what he does. He takes his hands off him and he says now's not the time for a fight, and gets in his car and goes. It's just it's a big stark contrast to watching Punisher season 2, which I watched some of today as well. So you go from shows like that where it's just fight after fight and no amount of damage stops your agility, and then you go from this where getting punched in the face does actually affect your fighting capacity.
Yeah, Steve goes through an arc, I will say.
This is the
throughout
beginning
the
of
whole
King
series.
Arc, Steve. This is the beginning
Yes.
of a King Steve arc, because where does he go after that little confrontation? He goes to clean up the mess that he made, calling Nancy slandering her.
Yeah, and then I believe with him and Nancy at the end buying Jonathan a new camera too as well. Yeah.
He's a creep. He's still a creep. He'll always be a creep. He is.
What
Jonathan's
a
creep talking about?
Yeah,
Jonathan's a
Jonathan.
Yeah.
Sometimes girls like the creeps.
Do they?
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Can you fix it?
Depends if they're on birth control or not. Sorry.
So
Go
it's
ahead,
you want Steve or the guy hiding in the bushes with a camera?
Again,
You
it
pick,
depends
Nadia.
if they're on birth control or not. I'd pick Steve.
What if they promise to pull out?
I'd still pick Steve.
Okay.
Yes. Just on
Thank
appearance
you.
alone.
Thank
I don't
you.
want to have kids with a sloth. So
No.
No. Sorry.
Yes,
I'm gonna get a
wow.
comment saying, this ugly chick talking about this dude's looks.
No, you won't.
Sorry, not sorry.
Definitely not
Sorry,
that.
not sorry.
No.
But yeah, sketch or somebody said it where he goes back to try to clean up the mess, like going to the theater, seeing if he could help with it. And such.
Yeah.
You don't always get that kind of thing happening. It was nice to see. Although it's again another little small like pet peeve. is that really the best place to put that ladder for like the reach and the angle you're trying to scrub that away at? It just the way it's facing, I'm like, surely that's just making life hard for yourself.
They didn't say they're smart.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
I think the thing going on here is he got rid of the Nancy part, but he doesn't want to have to move the ladder any more than he needs to. He's
Fair.
already having a bad day. His sign got vandalized. Okay, this is
Yeah.
gonna take him hours.
well, I mean, scrubbing off the word slut. That's he can reach that, but Wheeler, he's gonna have to move the ladder. He's gonna have to.
Well, as someone who just went through like a week and a half of moving boxes, sometimes you just want to minimize. Sometimes it just takes that one less trip that you have to do to make it a little more tolerable.
Very true.
Yeah. As someone who's moved multiple times, I agree. Sometimes you just want to get it done without having to get down the ladder.
I think Jonathan should have to do this. This is his
Because he's
fault.
the creep.
Yeah, this is all his fault.
Zach will
you should
never
have to fix
forgive
it.
this kid.
No, never.
This does feel like the loser persona, though. Like, whoever loses has to clean the damage up, sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
No.
Do you think that's why they wrote at the end for her to end up with Steve? Because they realized still Jonathan comes off as a creep?
Well, but what happens in season 5 though? Like, what happens if
Right.
I don't want to put any bad juju out there, but like, what happens if Steve dies?
Also,
Or
Steve
Jonathan
is the safe pick, though. Just like her mother
Yeah.
probably picked
For
the safe
reproduction
pick
or what?
for like settling down and such. Like you could see it with her parents. Her mom actually picked a safe pick, right? They probably were high school sweethearts or something to that extent. He's got a good job. He takes care. So in a sense, that's Steve at this point in time. I know later on it's not, but at this point in time, he is the safe pick between the two of them.
Yeah, I think Jonathan made that exact point when they were walking through the woods, and he was telling Nancy about like how she fits the stereotype of like every high school girl who always goes after the same type of guy, and then they always end up exactly like their parents. Remember that conversation?
I think it's in season 2 or 3. I don't remember exactly, but like they have a bit of a fight, and they kind of break up, if I remember correctly. Or they're on the verge of breaking up, but he says like Jonathan tells her that you've been living in a bubble, and that she's never had like to really work for anything, right? Like her family's wealthy, so she and her brother can kind of get whatever they want. It's kind of like being fed with the silver spoon. Like she doesn't have to worry about a lot of things in life, whereas Jonathan and Will do, because their dad's a POS, and the mother's trying to do everything that they can, and then what happens at the end of season 3, right? Like they have to sell their house. So like, whereas the Wheelers never have to worry about selling their house. They get a much nicer house than the Byers do. So I feel like Jonathan definitely has that like chip on his shoulder, and maybe that's kind of what like makes him. Or like maybe he feeds his creep persona a bit more.
Yeah, he's antisocial, aura, I guess. Like, I mean, it's because he pays so much attention to the ways in which his brother doesn't fit in, and so he's always trying to spend time with his brother to teach him to not to not quite be beholden to everybody else's hobbies and interests. So he's that's why he's able to teach Will about that. Is because he's distant. He's already distant himself from most other people.
Yeah.
I mean, he said
Still a
that.
creep,
He said that in the Woods conversation as well. He said, it might come as a shock, but I don't actually like most people, so it's not personal.
I'll also remind everybody that we can't exactly judge certain behaviors by our current standards that were moderately acceptable for right, wrong, or indifferent back in the 70s and 80s. I mean, Rocky basically forces Adrian to stay with him on their first date, and you got a guy with a boombox blasting the music that he listened to when the first time they had sex and say anything. Guys did creepy shit. You got a potential essay situation in Pretty in Pink and in 16 Candles, and none of those are looked at. I mean, those were looked at fondly at the time. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think the way they wrote it was like there would be a creepy Jonathan type character guy back in. I mean, he certainly looks like a product of the 80s, if nothing else.
Very
So,
true.
You can't say that about his haircut.
also, I'll
Old
remind
haircut.
everybody that Nancy is a teenage girl. So flipping back and forth between guys and making poor decisions and reacting with emotions. I mean, she might be a sharp shooting sniper, but she is still a teenage girl. So, I mean,
Yeah.
she's going to, be a little wishy-washy in the romance department.
You know what? I almost said no, but I dated identical twins, not at the same time. but
Holy
in high
shit.
school.
Really?
So not at the same time. Not at the
This
same
is not
time.
the Laura need.
We need details on this
No,
ASAP.
no. And the
Yeah.
funny thing is, I used to do Civil War reenactments, and they were one for each side too. One would reenact for the North, one would reenact for the South. So,
Steve King,
yeah.
more
So
like
much to
Gary King.
unpack. There is
So which
so
one
much
won?
to unpack in this right now.
There are so many angles to take this. Where do we begin?
I almost did actually. That's funny you say that.
Nadia
Oh,
watched The
really?
World's End again.
Yeah.
I have a scenario for you, Nadia.
Yes.
This is a serious question. So
Okay.
you and Chris are hooking up. You guys you're going hard, right? It's maybe your third time of the day. You guys can't stop. And outside of the window is Angry Badger taking pictures, okay, of you through the window. Just pouring it out there as a name. So
In the bushes.
so
In the bushes.
yeah. And so Chris catches up with him after. Goes, what the fuck? Takes the camera, smashes it. You're a fucking weirdo. Then the next week, Chris is coming home from a hard day of work, and Badger's sneaking out your window. What do you think he would do, Nadia?
Oh, what would Chris do?
Yes.
I don't think Badger would have parts of his body after that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So, like, would
Was-
you think maybe
Was
later on
Badger's
you
little
might?
brother kidnapped by a Demogorgon? And
I haven't seen him. I don't know. Good. I
Okay,
can't prove didn't happen. But what
And
I do
is it
know is
1983?
Nadia. If you then later on ended up with Jonathan, or people said, "Hey, you should go with Jonathan instead of Chris," he was the creeper in the window, right? No, I don't think you would do it, Nadia.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't
Right.
do it. Especially
Right.
if it's Badger. I would not do
It's too bad that it's Badger. I
a
couldn't
little
say
too
Gooch.
short and a little too skinny for me.
I couldn't say Gooch. I didn't want to put you in the Gooch position. So,
Damn.
yeah.
Wow.
It's all right. He doesn't watch these streams.
It's up, we're good.
Oh, okay. Well, he deserves it then.
Yeah. He's
All
fine.
right,
He's fine. Yeah, he magically shows up. Actually, surprisingly, after this stream is ending, we'll be raiding into Badger 10 because it's the only next stream
Oh.
that's available.
So should we
Ask-
say in the chat like, "Hey, quit being a creeper with your camera and spying on Nadia and Chris"?
sure.
Well, we
He'll have
just-
no idea. He
yeah.
doesn't even know I'm raiding him either. So it'll be a surprise for him anyway.
Nice.
So,
Oh, nice.
because I'm gonna take a half-hour break after the stream's done, and then I will be back live. I'm gonna be playing Until Dawn for the first time. So
wow.
I'll be streaming
Nice.
that. Yeah. I think I'm just fast forwarding too fast because we're almost an hour into the stream and we still got another
we're good.
episode to go.
We're good.
But this is our reunion between the kids and the two adults. Yeah. Ta-da! Everybody turned off their camera.
Mine froze. I'm trying to get it.
No, it's
You're fine.
honestly it's a really cool scene. I mean, because like now you have like the groups together again.
Wild March. You were meant to. I meant you need to write a novel about twins fighting opposite sides of the Civil War and the woman who loved it.
Just make it like a nonfiction story.
Oh, they did not age well, by the way. Very well. I saw them for a bunch of us theater kids went to our like theater director's last showing before he retired, and I saw both of them and did not age well. Did not age
Oh.
well, so I dodged a bullet there. So all right, enough about Nadia's adventures.
No, because Nadia used to pick her dating pool based on their cable selection. So this is not
That
surprising.
was after. That was after.
You went back and forth with twins. I'm not shocked.
What can I say? I'm a hot commodity.
You
in high
are.
school.
You are. I'm
right.
on Team Nadia. I get
Uh-oh.
HBO for you, for sure.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna clip that. All right.
Do it.
Moving on.
She's met my wife in real life, so we're good.
Yeah,
now.
I have
Yeah.
met his wife in real life. Yeah, she could probably kick my ass. So
Probably. Yeah.
yeah. I think this is pretty pivotal moment in the series with them all together finally realizing what is going on
Mm-hmm.
and them trying to explain to the adults in the simplest like D&D lamest terms of like a piece of paper with like we're here and Will's over here, Barb and Will are here, almost in a reverse, right? It should be the adults explaining it simply to the children. Instead we've got the opposite. So Dieter also gave one Horror with Nads membership. Thank you, Dieter.
Thanks, Dieter.
Nice.
Thank you so much. And speaking of bathing suits earlier,
Afternoon, ladies.
Afternoon, Billy.
Take the new suit, Mrs. Wheeler.
Thank you.
Wait, that was Wheeler?
it's
Mrs.
season
Wheeler.
3.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
because I only watched like the first 2 episodes of season 3 years ago, and I remember that exact scene.
Dieter's gonna be like, I'm a dude. Why did you play that?
Yeah, the world's end has trained me to be afraid of people speaking in complete unison like that. So I don't know if 4 people said my name in complete synchronization. I'm like, right, okay. So the world's been taken over by aliens. Where is the networking hub?
AI, man, AI. If you've seen Companion, that everything's turning to that way. It's going to be people dating robots and they're all going to be in unison. It's going to be a dude who marries like 3 of his robots and it's going to be some kind of polyamorous kind of deal. And they're all going to be unison. They all say the same thing. So
Yeah, have they released a clip recently of like it's like I can't remember what they called it. It's like a biomuscular machine, like robot. Like it's actually built in with muscles that allow it to move with the same complexity as humans. So like instead of them moving on joints like normal robots do, there's this like robot that's like hooked up to the ceiling and it's moving around.
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah, I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about. I've seen the clip. Yeah. We're all doomed. We're all doomed, folks.
I can't
Especially
believe
if we
I'm
keep-
saying this, but I much preferred it when her was not a future prediction.
Right.
Yeah.
It'd be great if
Yeah.
we stopped abusing them. That'd be nice. Like, we're
the
setting a
story
bad
of-
example.
No. Because Japan had virtual girlfriends for a very long time, and they also were very abusive to them as well. So we were not the first to do it. So they just report it like we are. So,
We
but yeah,
well perfected it.
yes, we did. I don't know. I mean, take out your frustrations on an AI robot, I guess. Anyway, she's trying to find Barb and Will in this scene, just bringing it back to Stranger Things. So,
I liked it when Hopper was in the police station and he referred to the woods as Mirkwood.
Yeah.
I got a giggle.
poor girl, such an emotion. You know, for an 11-year-old, a lot of things put on her shoulders for this.
Yep.
And in a sense, I mean, she gets to be a kid later on in the series, but this is tough because she herself in the earlier episodes admitted that she's the one that opened the gate. So all this does fall on her. It is technically her fault that these people are dying and these people are and Will and Barb are missing.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why you've got characters like what do they call the main group of kids? Like the Losers Club is it, isn't it? That's
Losers Club, yeah.
That's in
Yeah,
it,
but-
yeah.
yeah. What do they what do they have a nickname in for?
Hellfire Club, don't they eventually?
They eventually become part of the
Hellfire
Hellfire
Club's in
Club.
season 4, yeah.
Right.
I don't think they
Fire
have a
Club.
name, like a group name before that.
Yeah.
They just
I
think they just refer to themselves as like the party, you know.
Oh yeah. The party.
Yeah.
The party works. They should have just done that in season 4, just the party.
Yeah.
Anyway, but you know that's why you've got the party who you know they're there to remind her like no, it's not her fault because she's being she's essentially being bred as a super soldier creation by a scientist for the government and MK Ultra stuff. And it's like, technically the power did come from you, and technically that power was used to open the gate, but it's not like you chose to do it out of some nefarious reason, was it? It was under probable threat of death.
I like the theory, and I've read it before, where the Demogorgon is the counter opposite to 11. So it's her fear, it's her anger, it's the resentment of being living this life of being in an experiment, and it's all of that bottled up into this Demogorgon that helped open the gate to hell, in a sense, to the upside down, because they kind of mirror each other, especially in the last shot where they're both, in a sense, reaching out to each other. I always thought of it as that way. They reach out to their teacher to talk about sensory tanks, because 11 realizes she doesn't have enough energy, or in a sense, like the antenna to reach the other side. So she needs more, similar to the previous flashbacks we saw where she was put in those sensory tanks. Those things freak me out. I've done one before. They freak me out. I can't do them. I got to do the ones that are open. Like they have the newer ones that I can't be in a little tube.
Yeah.
I'd be curious about trying one sometime. I don't know, though.
They're very relaxing if you're not claustrophobic.
Oh, yeah, that seems like a big one. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're claustrophobic, it's not a good time.
Yeah.
So they need 1,500 pounds of salt to do this. And the best bet is to the school. Yeah. For getting some de-icing, because we are in the Midwest, baby, and the Midwest gets snow.
I love how Dustin kind of shames the teacher into giving him the information. The teacher's just trying to get it in and watch the thing with his girlfriend, and Dustin just kind of shames him. Didn't you tell us that the science is a 24-hour thing, and it's never wrong to ask a question, no matter what time?
Always open any curiosity door we find.
Why are you shutting this curiosity door on us? It's 10 o'clock on a Saturday night.
How did he have the teacher's number too, by the way?
Oh, that's a good point. His personal, well, maybe he's one of those teachers that's like not in a creepy way are close with these kids, so they're able to call him and ask him questions.
Well, he
out of
is
school
also,
hours.
Like he is also
there's
like,
also the phone
head of the AV club, so
yeah. And back then, everybody was listed in a phone book.
That's
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe it was a phone book then.
He's got a pedo mustache though.
He does have a pedo mustache.
No,
I mean,
no. See, that's the Ted Lasso mustache now.
Oh no. Ted Lasso is a solid soup strainer.
Yeah, he was hitting on who was his date? Where did he get the date from? Was it
I think it was no, it wasn't. It wasn't another teacher, was it? It was.
Grade 10?
I don't think it is. No,
it's some Asian lady.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen her in the. I feel like she was in an earlier episode somewhere, but maybe like as a side role, like a doctor somewhere. No, not a doctor.
She shows up dating like one night with Hopper, I think. Maybe not. It wasn't this season, but it may have been like a second one. I've definitely seen her.
So
somewhere.
her name is Jen. So Jen gets around.
Damn.
Okay.
Maybe it turns out that maybe so Dustin's in the room working with Hopper, and she's basically listening in on the conversation with the teacher. Maybe she's one of the government agents following Hopper.
Ooh, I didn't even think of that. That's a good point.
I mean, I was half memeing, to be fair. But I guess it would be funny if season 5 comes out and it turns out that's true.
That's okay.
She turns out to be the final villain.
I'm not meaning to jump forward, but I figured the last 11 minutes is the most important of this episode, where she's able to get into the their homemade sensory tank.
Yeah.
And this is I'm a woman. I get it. The last time I checked, this scene made me cry. Just
I could see that.
Emotional
being motherly. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And Joyce reminds me so much of my own mother, and even in her like neurotic ways. And my mom passed away like it'll be like 4 years now. So this just teared me up, just in the fact that like this is 11's first time of genuinely having a motherly love, in a sense, somebody who actually cares about. And I was worried that the scene would come across more so that Joyce is just trying to keep 11 to do this so that she could find Will, but it doesn't come across that. It comes across like she's genuinely caring for this child. And,
No,
and
and
her
it's
well-being.
it's a good juxtaposition against what the doctor does.
Dr.
where
Brenner.
Dr. Brenner kind of creepily, acts in a paternal way, whereas Joyce, now they're both trying to get something out of 11 with her powers, but Joyce is doing it from a place of, caring and nurturing and stuff like that. Whereas, Brenner, but they both have the same kind of motivation, and they both have the same, ends that they're trying to get to, but they go about it in a very, very different way.
Yeah, it's like Dr. Brenner is trying to emotionally manipulate her to get what he wants, whereas with Joyce, like she genuinely does want her to be okay. Like she wants her to know that she's cared for, but that like her safety is paramount as well. Like she doesn't want it to be any kind of. She wants it to feel comfortable and safe, because she's a mother, and she's an 11-year-old child who's scared, never had any parents, is underfed most of her life, tortured, experimented on. She's like, we want to take care of you.
Yeah.
We also get confirmation that Barb is officially KO'd. R.I.P. Barb.
Just good.
Good shot, right?
Effect. Yeah.
Oh yeah. The slugs never come back after this season.
Right.
I don't think they do.
Does.
No, they will. We'll see. One comes back in season 2.
Season 2. When
oh yeah.
But that's it then.
But that's it, right? After that, it's just a recap of
slugs.
Because
we never see
end of this season, he throws one up. So season 2 is just recapping that he's got these things in him, or had one. So this is just no more slugs. They're creepy looking. Ugh.
Yeah.
Watch.
It'll move. Yeah, it makes you wonder like what exactly they are, because it's like it kind of paints a picture that the Upside Down has a sort of ecosystem going on. Like it's not just the Demogorgons, it's also like smaller creatures that they feed off of the remains I know this is getting a little graphic. It's feeding off the remains of the leftovers of the other predators in the Upside Down. So it kind of gives you the impression like there's more in the Upside Down than just the big predators like the Demogorgon. It's a very dark place.
Well, when they eventually find Will, and he's got their version of like a face hugger tube thing down his throat, very much an alien-esque to me.
Yeah.
But I can't remember any of the further seasons of anybody having that done to them.
The Mind Flayer's proxy body does the same thing when he's like flaying people in season 3.
Yeah.
Right. See, this is Sketch. He's our Stranger Things aficionado, so he knows.
After the rats and a lot, basically, like she starts building a zombie army with Billy and I can't think of her name, but the other
Heather. The other lifeguard.
Yeah, the other lifeguard. Yeah,
the flayed.
That, like Billy almost
this
like raped.
Also, confirmation for Nancy about. Oh right, Nick, you're right. Billy's man. We talk about how Jonathan's a creep. Billy's a real creep. Ooh.
But
Billy's
I
like, if you take Jonathan's
I guess it's okay.
creepiness
Yeah, go ahead.
And if you take Jonathan's creepiness and Steve's looks and you put them together and you amplify them,
throw in a little bit of Dustin charisma swagger.
Yeah,
and you got the mix.
Yep. Which I think that's why they brought Eddie.
It's always interesting how a guy can be a lot less creepy, disproportionate against how good looking he is. If he's good looking, it's a lot less creepy. If he's ugly, then it's pretty creepy.
Jonathan's creepy. Billy's evil, though. There's there's like I feel Billy doesn't have there's a redemption period for him towards the end where he saves his sister and such, but up until that point he's a real asshole. Like everybody calls Steve an asshole in this season. Billy's really a jerk. Like he's a step up.
I forget because I'm not up to season 2 yet. After not watching it for years, is Billy Max's sister?
Billy's
brother,
stepbrother.
technically. Yeah.
Older
Oh right, yeah,
stepbrother.
okay.
Yeah.
The one where he makes her cry in the car because he's like a big asshole. He's a bit of a douche, quite abusive. Or intimidating at the very least. I can't remember if he does anything strictly abusive. He does go into see is it Steve's or one of the party's houses to like take Max out physically, and then Steve like threatens him with a bat. Yeah, that was it's always nice seeing people standing up for someone. It's just that little moment where he's got a bat over his shoulder and he's like, right, time to get out of the house.
Well, anyway. Billy to me always takes it a step too far, similar to the episode prior where the kids showed up with the knife, and I'm like, what are you going to do? Stab someone else? Like Billy would stab someone. He takes it always just that notch of just uncomfortableness a step too far. But yes, I see my husband in the chat, King Steve.
Yeah, it's because he's a big guy and he knows it, and he wants to remind everyone else he's a big guy as well.
Zax, do you want to ask Chris your question?
Sure. You want me to?
Go ahead.
So, Chris, here's the scenario. This is what Nadia has been talking about all night, and she won't stop talking about this one. So, what she wants is she's hooking up with you. You guys are hot and heavy. It's around 3. So, you're feeling a bit drained, but maybe you got one more in you for the night. And you look to the window, and there's Angry Badger with a camera. He's taking pictures of you guys, and you catch him later on. Take his camera and you smash it like you should, because he's taking pictures.
That's
of
what
your
Steve
wife
does to Jonathan,
you.
by the way, Chris, in the first season. So,
and
Jonathan was a creep.
He has it coming, and this is not even just like I got a camera phone. Oh, there's naked people, which is like still bad, but this is like I have a big camera and I'm putting it right up against the window because I might see a boob, and that's your wife's boob. And so, a week later, you're walking home. You've worked all day. You're tired. Maybe you got dinner waiting for you, but you don't, because you see sneaking out of your window, out of your house, is Angry Badger. How would you handle that situation?
I said you would beat the crap out of him, Chris, that he would be missing some badger limbs. So I don't know if he just stopped by just to say King Steve, but we'll see. All right. We'll see.
Okay. If he doesn't, you'll just play it back for him. Keep in mind, though, if in this equation he's Will and your husband is Steve, Will's still... Not Will. Jonathan still won the fight. Jonathan did win the fight in the end. So
not in this scenario.
Maybe
not.
This is the
not even in another lifetime.
This is the rewrite, okay? From the
this is the fanfic.
It's a true King Steve, basically, like not a gimp King
Chris
Steve.
will be King Chris. That's what will happen. Yeah. Zex, you've met my husband. He's a big dude.
He's a big dude. We got Wookiee strength there, I think, for your boy. So
yes,
no more arms for Jonathan or Badger, whichever one.
Yeah. Just rip around.
All hollow tables.
Yep.
Mortal Kombat style.
I don't know where he is. Anyway, so she finds Will. Poor Will. He's been hanging out in Camp Byers or
Castle Byers,
right? Castle Byers. Thank you.
Yeah.
Castle Byers.
Yeah. Makeup effects is really great.
Yeah, she comforts him and everything. She tells him everything he needs to hear.
And then she gets not attacked, but founded by the Demogorgon, I think, right? Or where is it? Maybe not. It just I think he just disappears on her.
Oh yeah, that's it. Everything turns to like fog around her.
Yeah. Great. I'm saying great makeup effects. This kid looks sick. Chris said, sorry, cleaning. Nadia nailed it.
Damn right.
King Chris. All right, let me keep going. Yeah, this moment teared me up a little bit. This season's taken very seriously. I don't think they come back to the seriousness until season 4, to me.
I agree.
Still not as deep as this. This was a pretty serious season. Like the heart of it. I feel season 2 and 3 are a little bit more campier, a little bit more humor added to it, especially Hopper. Hopper's definitely taken more seriously in this season versus the other ones.
Yeah,
They do such a good job with her for 11 of using shots like this where she's so small in a large open space, and it makes her seem that much more frail and vulnerable. And you got Joyce here, holding her, which they still together. They're still small, but they're strong.
I just want to point out too. Here, look at the beam of light directly behind them.
Yeah.
Surrounded by darkness too.
And Nancy's face.
And then there's Nancy.
And then there's
Walking
Nancy
down
in the
Wheeler.
corner.
Walk them down.
Oh, and especially when the camera pulls it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's looking at her. Everyone's wants to know how 11's doing. Well, they're looking out for her is the short version of that.
This is her family. She's never had a family like this before.
Yeah.
Right.
And they want her to know it as well. They don't want to just be there. They want her to know that they're there.
Hopper and Joyce decide they're going to go into the Upside Down to find Will, leaving Nancy and Jonathan in charge of the kids. And then the kids are staying back at the high school. Nancy and Jonathan decide to take off based off Nancy. She knows that Hopper and Joyce are walking into basically maybe a death trap, and she wants to be. And I think this is also a way for her to revenge for Barb. Like she feels that maybe it's her fault that Barb. It is technically her fault that Barb is gone. So this is her way of a redemption for it. Any thoughts on that?
I'm trying to remember. Because she said something to Jonathan here in this scene when they've got their backs against the wall. Oh, there we go. I want to finish what we started. It's because don't forget the deer in the woods. That's when they both first encountered it. It's sort of like a nightmare for them. It's not trauma you're going to get over without seeing it dead and being the one that killed it as well. Nancy was trapped in the Upside Down for like 5 something minutes after seeing a brutalized deer get dragged away. I don't know. It's like if you get trapped in an alternate dimension that's and you still look like you're in it a little bit. Like Nancy always has that sort of expression now, like she did when she was in the Upside Down. She's always got that what do you call that look exactly? I don't want to keep saying traumatized. It's just
500 yards
disturbed. Yeah, disturbed. Do you know what I mean? It's always always thinking. You can tell she's thinking about it. It's like so she and Jonathan want to be the ones to kill the Demogorgon because that's sort of their catharsism, if that's a word. Yeah, because rewatching it, I completely forgot that Nancy also experienced the Upside Down this season on her own as well. So again, I take back everything I've said about Nancy. Welcome, Kat. Kate. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be covering all the seasons here, so buckle up.
Nancy is pretty awesome.
She is. I'm a Nancy apologist. I apologize. I said, yeah. Thank you, Dieter. Yes. 53 people watching over on X, 15 on YouTube. Y'all on X, stop creeping. Come on over to the YouTube side. There's a poll going on in the chat, so come on over. I know the 29% of you. Yeah, don't be a Jonathan. If you're watching on Twitter, you're a Jonathan. If you're watching on YouTube, you're Steve.
Real
it's my channel. I can say shit like that.
Real Steve still referred to it as Twitter.
Oh, yes. It's always Twitter. Fuck this X shit. So they decide to head into the lab to get into the Upside Down. And I think that's where we end with Will, I believe. Yeah. With the Demogorgon castle Byers.
The castle is taken.
The castle is taken. So pretty good lead up to the final season. Well, I'm queuing that up. Final episode of the season. What trivia you got for us, Toxic?
Ooh.
A couple things. This is the first episode of the series to take place entirely within the same day. The previous 6 episodes have started on one night and ended the following day.
Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't pick
That's
up on that
pretty
detail.
This is also the shortest episode so far in all the episodes. This episode takes place on November 12th, 1983.
Cool.
Very well.
And yeah.
I think the finale has so much to it that it's almost better that they let this one be a bit shorter to get this what they had to get done to move on to the finale.
Yeah.
Sensory deprivation tanks were used extensively in psychological research, often including LSD or acid, and have previously been used as plot devices in both fringe and altered states.
I believe it. I believe it.
The showrunners. Go ahead.
I was gonna say this is also loosely based on the Montauk Project, which a lot of the imagery is from. But to get on Nadia's nerve, there's been a lot of Montauk Easter eggs in Severance season 2, even though she thinks it's a bad show.
Yeah. Well, this show was originally going to be taking place in Montauk and called Montauk.
There you go.
Severance is boring. Okay.
You're
sorry.
wrong.
It's a boring show. It's a
You're just
boring
wrong.
show. I might be wrong. It's okay. Hey, not everything's made for everybody, right? I don't like it. But I am watching recap videos by one of my favorite YouTubers, so I know what's going on at least.
That's
So-
funny.
The Duffer Brothers revealed that this episode was their most purely fun episode of the season because of the featuring bike chase with the kids and the allusions to E.T. that it brought forth.
That's cool.
And a couple other bits and pieces, but that's the most interesting stuff.
Okay.
There's one more good one for this episode. It is the dining room chairs and floor pattern of the Wheeler house are the exact same ones in Poltergeist, which came out the previous year, the previous year that this show is set in. So 1982, and this is 1983.
Interesting.
That's cool. Wow.
So following on from a previous thing, does that mean that Terminator was out by this point, or
No.
No.
okay, all right,
No.
fine.
Hold on. I just saw Willie's Movies and Music. I was on a stream with him last night, so it was a lot of fun. I love Severance. If all good, if others don't like it, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I don't like Severance. Sorry, not sorry. I don't know what to tell you. It's just, I know. Matt's waiting to hash it out with me. I know.
You
It's
better.
coming.
Not everything is for
coming.
everybody.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. You guys like to watch a predictable show, and I just rather waste my time with something else.
Predictable, huh?
Okay.
Okay. Any other trivia? Toxic?
The gory shot of Barbara with a snake coming out of her mouth was a direct homage to the famous Well of Lost Souls scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yep.
Interesting. They call it a snake?
I mean, it's a snake-like creature, so I mean,
Slug.
I don't know.
Slug, yeah.
Slug.
Slug.
It's a slug.
Yeah.
It's a
So
slug.
that's the cream of the crop right there, boss.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, we're going to get into episode 9, which is the finale, called The Upside Down. Joyce and Hopper are taken in for questioning because they're arrested at the end of the previous episode, and Nancy and Jonathan prepared to fight the monster and save Will. That is the simplest description of it. Thank you, IMDb, for not going into more, because I feel that is just the tip of the iceberg of what happens in this.
Yep.
There's key moments entirely throughout this whole episode. We've got 11's telekinesis like ability outburst where she kills multiple people.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
it
she
also, Hopper deals with hints of darker. It shows like his flashbacks between what happened to his child and what's going on with Will. There's a lot of things. We get Steve finally with a bat as well.
Nice.
And 11 faces off with the Demogorgon. So here we go. Let me add it back on. All right. So it opens up with Joyce and Hopper being questioned. However, this is where I know we all logically I get it, but this is where Hopper throws 11 under the bus here and tells them exactly where the kids are, so that Joyce and him are able to get into the Upside Down for Will. Get it? Understandable. Logically, it makes sense. Still a dick move.
Yep.
Yeah, again, I would only say it's because it depends on whether or not they establish he had any plan to subvert them. Like after that, like is he just bluffing them in the short term, and he plans to stop them or walk back on his plan, or it's like he knows about the facility, he knows about their plans for 11, he knows what they intend to do, so he's not just going to let it happen. All he needs to do now is survive. He needs to get them to take off his cuffs for however much time, save Will, and then deal with the government agency. It's just, I think that they should have just had that conversation, like after the fact. I think that's all that scene was really missing.
See, I actually think the opposite, because that's you said that in the last episode, and I've been stewing on it. I actually think that the opposite is true. I think it's better that there's some ambiguity and some discussion to be had, and that the creators gave us 2 + 2 and didn't give us 4. They let us figure that out on our own, that really there was no other play to make here. And had it gone wrong, Hopper had enough trust in the girl and her powers and the boy's ingenuity to get out of it. Or worst case scenario, they get brought back to the facility and he can, try to extricate them from that situation. I prefer that, as opposed to a little slick dialogue to the side where it's like, don't worry, Joyce, in case this goes wrong, I have a backup plan. Like, I don't really need him to say that.
Go on. I was going to say, I mean, obviously the dialogue would sound a little bit more natural than that, but no, I suppose there is one thing to consider is that I think Joyce doesn't actually know about that plan, does she? She didn't know that he's she didn't actually know that he's told them about the Joyce doesn't actually know that he's told the government about 11, does she? She just knows we worked it out, and then
right. Yeah.
So that conversation would actually be difficult to work in. So you could still stick with the ambiguity for that.
Also, that's a military term. It's called need to know, and Joyce didn't need to know.
Yep.
I also think Dr. Brenner here thinks the reason to negotiate this is that he doesn't think Hopper and Joyce are going to make it out.
True. True. 100%.
He's probably counting on the fact that something's going to get them in the Upside Down, and it doesn't matter if they go in, but they're definitely not coming out. I don't think they he actually expected them to find Will and be able to save him.
And he says as much now, and that's the thing. He does say that out loud. He says it to his assassin chick, his number 2 chick. He says that to her. He's like, yeah, they ain't coming out of there.
Yeah.
Do our dirty work.
Right. So in this negotiation, Hopper's able to get access to the Upside Down. Originally, he had found it too when he was investigating the lab on his own a couple episodes back. And for that, he told them exactly where the kids were. So they all ran off to find the children at the school, where Hopper and Joyce are left to explore the Upside Down. On it. The school confrontation at the school gets pretty violent. Again, I feel like I'm underselling it. Rewatching that whole segment of them at the school is really violent. She explodes people's brains in their heads. Yeah.
It is brutally violent, yes.
I don't remember that being that, and I feel that there's not as much violence there's violence with the monsters and stuff, and the last season with Russia, but I feel her actually killing people,
it's different.
This is like top tier. I don't think she beats it in the upcoming seasons. Go ahead, Sketch.
I didn't appreciate this detail on the rewatch, but when she like crushes their brains, basically they have the whole like bloody tears going there. It's kind of like how Vecna does when he takes out someone. It's like it shows up
Yep.
again there. So it's like that's one little cool little detail that they brought back the whole time to make this through line.
The only downfall I will say of that entire scene is I didn't like the CGI blood out of the eyes and the nose, because you can definitely tell it's CGI blood on it. So
Yeah.
Jonathan making the infamous nail bat that Steve eventually uses later on. Still a creep to you, Sax?
Yeah. I mean, objectively, he is. It doesn't mean he can't be redeemed or that you can't like some of the things he does, but he still is. He was still that same creep that he was peeking in windows with a camera and then developing them and going, I should develop all of these. Why would I stop? Like, you go, you know what? This is creepy of me. I'm going to throw that out. I'm not going to process these photos. Oh, no. He fucking developed them at school.
1980s.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess.
Well, yeah. To be fair, I mean, well, to be fair, when you say 1980s, he did realize that like what he was doing was creepy. It's just that it was they weren't to be viewed like how he explains it. They weren't to be viewed by other people, which is why when the girl walks in, it's not that he didn't think what he was doing wouldn't be seen as creepy. He knew it would be. That's why he didn't tell anyone about it.
Right. And like you talked about Rocky earlier, but like Rocky was doing Adrian a favor. He was way better than her.
Whoa!
Oh,
I haven't seen Rocky in years. so
I've never seen
I'm
it.
not
I
gonna
know the
comment.
concept of it, but
I'm
yeah.
not going to comment on what happened there.
For context, really quick, Nadia, on their
Yeah.
first date, she asks repeatedly to leave, and Rocky forces her to stay and takes her virginity.
Yeah.
He convinces her to stay
Jonathan is a fucking
physically-
saint compared to that.
physically, and then they get married and she gets to be a millionaire. She worked at a pet store.
I guess that's an ends justify the means
And
kind,
she's like,
kind of
what are
situation.
She's like special needs a little bit too. Like she could have used a helmet, I think.
I don't know.
For most of season one.
It's on my list to watch because I know it's a classic. People talk about it all the time. But now I'm going in with that in my
Have
head.
you never
and I'm
seen
just,
Rocky?
No.
Like, did he stand in front of the door to stop her leaving? Yes.
Yes, he did.
But did he say
He did.
we will now commence coitus? No, he didn't say that.
No, because people don't talk like that. But I'm not. You know what? I'm not going to do this. I'm not doing this with you.
You think Rocky's Italian, and I don't like Italians either. But I don't think he's
Whoa!
only a dumb character.
Okay.
Dude, did we switch places? Are you the Lord of Toxicity? Do we need to change names? What's going on?
I'm taking my throne.
Zax woke up and chose violence this
I
season.
did.
Isn't your bun bro an Italian or part Italian?
We have to work through that. Yeah.
Yikes.
Wow.
Well, he's Sicilian,
Wow.
so it's like even worse.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
it is.
Gucci's ancestry is from an island, whereas I'm from the mainland. Like,
Oh, yeah.
know,
My brother-in-law says he's Italian, and I'm like, but you're Sicilian. That's different.
it's
Right.
different.
I
Italians
am
have
in no
empire-
way excusing
for a while.
predatory
Yes, it does.
behavior or anything like that. I am only saying that looking at things that are set in a different era with the lens of today, it's not it's kind of ivory tower. George McFly was a peeping Tom, and that movie's still considered
That's
a
true.
classic.
Yeah.
That is true.
So
Jonathan looks like a fucking
I can
saint.
I can name dozens of 80s like really
Yeah.
problematic scenes with guys doing creepy shit. So I mean,
They're
I'm
still
just saying.
creepy. Crispin Glover's
Yeah.
creepy.
Yeah, he
Take
is.
her to
He's
the
great
zoo,
in
though.
American Gods. He's
Great
great
actor.
in American.
Tremendous. Creepy.
Yeah, I was going to say, in the case of George McFly, I do specifically remember that in that movie, the movies recognized that it was creepy because he avoids the question of what he was doing on that tree or on the road. It's like every time his wife asks him, like 40 years later, like, "What were you doing in the middle of that road?" He goes, "What?"
Yeah.
And he pretends like he didn't hear her.
Yeah. Also, I'll point out that the bully Biff was going to SA her in that car.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true. And then she was going to essay her own son, I guess,
Period.
Yeah, but she stopped though. I mean, she knew when to
in reverse.
quit.
I guess.
Biff wasn't going to quit.
I fast forward a little bit, but in the scene that while we were talking was Nancy and Jonathan were setting traps at the Byers house
Yes.
for the Demogorgon
Yep.
with the bear trap, creating and then they have the gun and then they have the bat as well. So we are back to the negotiation with Hopper and Dr. Brenner, where he's able to get everybody out, and then they are to head to the upside down. And then why do I have boots? Oh, and these guys are off to their funeral, I guess.
To their death.
Yeah.
To the depths of hell.
The death march.
Oh. The design for the upside down is pretty cool.
I really do enjoy
Very
it.
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I feel this is what the gorge should have looked like because I recently saw it.
Oh, did you not like it?
It's okay. It's
Oh,
okay. It's all right. I'm like 50-50 on it. I think it would have been a better book, to be honest. Surprisingly. I'm gonna put a review out for it.
Okay.
I haven't watched it yet. Yeah, same.
I gotta watch it.
It's all right. So they're in the upside down, but this is also where Hopper starts to have flashbacks, and we get a little bit of background story of his daughter being diagnosed with a cancer, I believe.
Yes.
Yep.
It seemed to be, yeah.
I believe
I
she had a
think
brain
leukemia.
tumor.
Oh. Was it brain tumor or leukemia?
Yeah, it makes
like-
sense. Go on.
I feel like it was a brain tumor because of the scene in which he's playing with her and she kind of loses it and seems disoriented and, doesn't understand what's going on. So I feel like it was a brain tumor.
Yeah, when I first saw that, I thought it was like a panic attack or something that she was having. That's sort of what I thought was happening. And then obviously it cuts to her seemingly post... what's it called? The chemotherapy. I don't know. Yeah, that's the one. I don't know why I blanked on that, but yeah,
right.
post chemotherapy.
Nick, I have a question for you. Do you think these flashbacks are at a good point in this season, with it being the last episode, to give that background on Hopper?
I think it works just simply for the fact that he's looking for Joyce's son, and he understands what it's like to lose a son, even though she believes that he's alive. And then I think part of him, while small, believes that he's alive as well. But just in the event that he's not, or, she loses him right then and there, he knows how to help console her if that tragedy does come to fruition. Which, I don't know if there would have been a better spot to put this flashback in. Like, I know there's a part in season 2 where I think Al knows something about his past, says something along the lines of his daughter, and that could have happened then. But I think because of what's happening here in season 1, I think this is a good spot. It also adds to the emotional toll of what he's had to go through, that sort of trauma, right? And obviously, for any parent to lose their child at a young age is scarring, a bit of PTSD that I'm sure he could also have. So I think this is a good spot to put it in here in the finale for his character and Joyce's.
I think it makes that phone call he had with his ex-wife more impactful too, because you don't really know the story, and then hearing that she already has a child in the background is when he hangs up, and then we get these flashbacks.
Yeah,
I think looking reverse, it makes that phone call even sadder, knowing that she's moved on, she has another child already, and he's kind of stuck in limbo with his grief.
Right. It's not so much of the past, but definitely in limbo. He hasn't found a way to move on yet. And obviously, once we know what happens, but he does have that shot at redemption, that second chance to have a daughter, which we'll get to eventually. But yeah, I like it. I think it's great writing.
I think another detail of it, unless someone else is about to go. No, right.
No,
I think
go ahead.
another. Cheers. I think another detail of it is that he's. It's like he's tried to train himself to move on, with like the way. So it's within the logic of within the boundaries of realism. The way he speaks to Joyce and the way he tries to encourage her to move on, it makes sense for him and everyone else to obviously think that Will's dead. But it's the things that he says to her, they're all in effort of helping her get over her grief. But it's because when we see the flashbacks, it gets contextualized that as hard as he tried, there was just fundamentally there was nothing that he could do to save his daughter. It's just a fact of life. Unfortunately, people die. Sometimes you can't always do anything about it. And I think, like, he gets that opportunity at the end of the show. He takes the charge of the situation and he saves Will. He doesn't. It's not about getting Joyce to move on. It's about saving someone's child. He couldn't save his daughter, but he can save Will. That's his goal. That's his mission. That's his that's his moment in that scene, is when he he does CPR on Will and he starts breathing again. When he realizes that Will's alive, he sits back and it's almost like he's out of breath, like it's taking a mental toll on him. He's happy that he's actually managed to save Will's life, because he saved Joyce that pain that he tried to train himself to get through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zach's had to dip, but I'm sure he'll be around in the chat. I know he probably has Circle of Jerks tomorrow night. So his links, everybody's links will be in the description below. So please go check it out. It's a good time. It's something. You have to experience Circle of Jerks at least once to really understand what's going on. So I agree with you, Toonie. I think rewatching it and seeing the placement of it, and just like Nick was saying, I don't see anywhere else in the series, in the season, where they could have given us a little bit more information. Just dropping those little Easter eggs of like the phone call with his ex-wife and things people would say about him, and just how reserved or how he comes off in a sense. And grumpy makes sense now, right? Losing a child. And going through that. But I don't know who said it. It was Nick who said, also makes a point of him being prepared to help Joyce if the worst outcome of Will shows up. Like, it's the worst outcome that they find his
which is
kid
a good
dead.
point, because I never thought of that before.
Yeah. So we're back to Jonathan and Nancy, and they're getting ready to summon the Demogorgon by cutting Jonathan's hand, because of course it's attracted to blood, and Steve shows up at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Steve, just give us 5 minutes. Come back, go get some food, and then come back in like 5 minutes. Yeah.
Not the wrong time for Steve. Yeah, not the wrong time for Steve. He wants to apologize. He's
of course.
manning up.
It's just it's like, Steve. Great, I get it. We're about to fight an interdimensional demon. Could you come back in just maybe 10 minutes? Like.
But he steps up. He steps up throughout this entire segment with the bat after Jonathan drops it. Like the creep he is.
Yeah.
Yikes. Jeez.
I mean, you know what? The Demogorgon, it out-creeped him,
Oh, poor Steve. And I think this is Steve's first, like, supernatural for this whole entire season.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
This is where he gets inducted into the crew.
What if Jonathan was like, I already told you once, don't make me tell you again, get the hell out of my house.
Yeah.
Bigger fish to fry. So
Steve was just there trying to like apologize to Nancy, and Nancy was ready to shoot him in like 2 seconds. Like, he was proper screaming for his life. I remember in that scene.
I think I have like a 1-second clip of the behind the scenes for this season of the Demogorgon in the hallway. Yeah.
I'm gonna pretend like I saw that.
I know, it's very brief. It's very brief. I like the Jaws poster in the background. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Mhm.
Showing the time.
Plays into the attracted to blood thing.
Oh,
Mhm.
that's a good
Oh, yeah.
point, Sketch. Whoa, dropping it.
Touche.
I like the fact that they stay as realistic to the time that they're in, even though this is a fantasy sci-fi show. Because instead of fast forwarding and adding the Terminator line, they actually stayed to the times of when these movies were released during this timeline too. So this is pretty cool. A lot of basically props to the set designers and the prop people, because they had their work cut out for them. Because it does feel like to me, I'm a 90s kid. It feels like what I grew up in the Midwest with, because we were kind of 90s 80s mixed a little bit before the internet. Felt
Yeah.
very much so. And the houses all feel lived in, even if they're different classes, right? Obviously Byers are a little bit more poor than Wheeler's family, but the houses felt very lived in, very realistic, in my opinion.
They look like they feel very like homely. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's not. I don't know if maybe it's just because I've never lived in a mansion, but the idea of a mansion has just never appealed to me. Like, you know,
It's overrated.
I'll take a place that's actually, you know, made for my size. Do you know what I mean?
Very Midwest houses. Anybody who's ever lived in the Midwest or been to the Midwest, very much this is a Midwest town. Very homely.
Yeah.
Very lived
Homey,
in.
quaint.
Everybody. Quaint.
Cul-de-sac-y,
Cul-de-sac-y. Suburbs.
down the block.
Down a block.
Live in the neighborhood like that.
With a bear trap in the middle of their hallway.
Hmm.
And then we're back to Will and Hopper and Joyce back in the Upside Down.
See, this
There's-
is one
and-
part of like the Upside Down I appreciate, back when it was like considered so radioactive and so toxic that you needed like a hazmat suit just to be able to traverse it.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
But towards the end, they take them off, though, to give Will the oxygen.
Yeah,
They do,
but it's recognized.
It's played off as like almost like sacrificial. This
Yeah,
whole,
like
'cause the
it
whole
is a
season we're
risk.
told that it's literally like nuclear fallout levels of radiation going on here.
Yeah, because they do, like, Joyce says it as they're about to go into the Upside Down. They say, you need, you know, the air, the atmosphere is toxic. You need to wear these suits. And then she turns around to the scientist and says, "But my son's been in there for like a week." And like they don't. And then I think was it you, Nadia, that said it before, that the makeup on Will made him look. He was very sick. Like they definitely. I'd imagine a lot of what was done to Will is a result of the atmosphere. Like, yeah, it's done. What's the opposite of wonders? Whatever that word is, whatever, it's a placeholder word. Yeah, he's not holding up well. He's got very low health.
Well, season 2 to me is the consequences of the actions of season 1. Season 3 is kind of on its own, and season 4, I think, brings us back into the fold of Stranger Things. But season 2 to me, especially with Will, and I think we're about to see the heighten of the after effects in season 5, because I believe Will plays especially with his connection with Vecna. So at this point, spoilers, right? Everybody should have seen season 4 by now if you're a Stranger Things fan. Looking back at season 1, does Vecna already have a hold on Will?
Presumably.
Yeah, I mean, you have to think that he does because of the context of what happens in season 4, right? But it's almost like you don't see all the pieces on the chessboard in this game, though, where it's like where the king is and where the queen is, but it's like the Demogorgon is just a soldier, right? It's just a pawn in a much bigger game. Like, even to the whole thing with the mind flayer, to me, the mind flayer was always like the captain, the commander, or even a general, right? Some sort of high-ranking officer of Vecna. That, like, well, I sent my soldiers out, or my realm was being trifled with, so I sent my soldiers out, and that didn't thwart my opposition. So now I'm sending out my commander to do what needs to be done And obviously, like the Mind Flayer is substantial enough as a threat to warrant 2 seasons of the show. And then
Mhm.
obviously with, Vecna being, seemingly all powerful, we're getting the last 2 seasons with much longer episodes because of how powerful he is. And I like the whole D&D references along the way, which is nice, to show like a bit of a power creep and like monster scale. But yeah, I loved how, I don't know, like ferocious the Demogorgon was in this first season, because you just kind of didn't really expect it, but you didn't see it a lot either, which was nice, a nice touch as well.
Mhm.
Dare I say it's a little similar to Jaws, right? Like you only see, Jaws make a couple attacks along the way until the end when Jaws is being hunted down by the trio, where we're kind of getting to that point now, in the finale here with this season, where Al has to come down and be that Chief Brody moment and make that killing blow, smile, you son of a bitch, and blow him up. But I don't know, just a weird analogy I just thought of.
No, you're right,
Yeah.
and it's very much the D&D reference to it. As the party levels up, the enemy becomes stronger and stronger. It's just
Yeah.
playing a D&D campaign. This is their first run through of the campaign. Each season is, they each get special ability in a sense, like leveling up, and then they have a bigger boss. But Sketch, I wanted to ask you, because what did you think of the sound design with the upside down when Joyce and Hopper in there?
I really appreciate how much attention they put into some of these backgrounds to make it sound otherworldly. You can tell they got a ton of reverb just to make this sound like just a barren, empty wasteland. And especially with like they have a lot of like just like weird like alienish noises, just like with the like Demogorgon sounds echoing throughout the horizon. It's so spooky.
I love the
They did
I love
a
the
very
soundtrack.
good job with it.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I'm a sucker for a really good soundtrack and musical cue in games, movies, everything. But in times when you've got the supernatural stuff happening, like when when the Demogorgon is trying to burst through the wall in like a I think that did they do the latex trick earlier in the season with the when Joyce sees it trying to like scratch through the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do it in was it Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yep.
I almost said
Yeah.
Nightmare Before Christmas. Then I'm like, no, I don't think they did it in that.
No.
Yeah, they should do.
Yeah, Nightmare on
Um,
Elm Street, where he comes through it kind of, also Frighteners too. If anybody's ever seen Frighteners, same kind of effect too. Michael J. Fox, Peter Jackson movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've not seen that, but still.
Oh, it's so good. I
so
highly recommend it.
Yeah, but it's whenever the supernatural stuff's happening earlier on in the season, is that you got that musical cue that it's sort of like a droning effect. It's the do 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 do. Does anyone like hear the music in those bits? I love a good musical cue in a soundtrack in a lot of stuff. It's usually more memorable for me than things like set design. Even though I can really appreciate good set design, it's stuff like the Jaws poster in the background. I didn't notice that, but I'll definitely, in a lot of things, I will remember the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah, our sound expert guy, Sketch, always points out the sound, especially with the Demogorgon sound too, that they really put effort into this season with it. So, all right. Poor King Steve. Calling 911. Calling for help. What is he going to tell him? A monster attacked?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something. You're going to tell him something. Some people are hurt. You're under attack. The house isn't safe.
Oh, there we go. I think they light it. That's, by the way, this clip right here is this clip. That's the sorry, trying to lighten the mood a little bit. It's
That's
pretty
all right.
dark.
Jonathan Byers has got you covered.
I was like,
The,
Duffer Brothers, they know how to light their nights. They know how to light
Yeah.
their nights, which is
Well,
great.
it's gonna save Joyce Byers a lot on the electric bill. I can tell you that. The if you want to read that out in chat, I don't know.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
What was I even going to say? I was going to say you could use that quick 1 second teaser, or was it behind the scenes thing? You use that as a jump scare, just at random points. Don't tell anyone. Just
just to wake you all up, just as we're talking about it, just randomly, just play it.
There you go.
Just make sure. Hey, Toxic, are you awake?
Yeah, I'm awake.
I'm gonna have way too much fun with that.
Yeah,
See, I know it's super short, but if you can ever just time it right when someone gets into the stream, just boop right as they enter, then they're there.
Oh, right, they enter. Just whoever's whoever's late
Mhm.
for the next one, you've been warned.
If you ever find yourself backstage, you know it's about to get hit with.
Yes.
I can picture it now. Joyce is trying to communicate with Will on using the lights. The lights all start flickering menacingly. She turns around dramatically, and all of a sudden it's just that 1 second teaser.
You know what? Actually, I take it back. I want this clip put on a loop to the jellyfish song from SpongeBob. Do 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 do.
Well, if you can see it, you can see the dudes.
Yeah,
it's green screen.
Screens, yeah, for
yeah.
where they had the fire.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Working with monster actors is the funnest part of like directing. Sometimes you're just like, okay, you got this dude in full body makeup, right? He's covered in like green screen like material, and you're like, okay, in this scene, you're a monster and you have been set on fire. Action.
I love it. Monster designs, and especially if you get character actors like Doug Jones. So good. So good on it. I am just kind of scamming it through because we're still in the Upside Down. These three have pretty much survived a Demogorgon. That's a pretty good thing. And
Steve
Dustin
Stanton
found the
this week.
pudding. He's
Absolutely.
Yeah, he can tell the lunch lady, yes, you do have pudding back there.
Yeah,
The pudding.
I feel like it was really unfair to name the lunch lady Phyllis and characterize her as holding all of the chocolate pudding. I don't know. Not my joke. It's the show's. Just all I'm saying. If you're out there, if anyone out there is called Phyllis, I'm sorry. This ain't the show for you.
What I like about this scene is it cuts to them just being children, even in this most dire, serious scenario that they're in, right? Basically trying to survive the night, trying to find their best friend and such. They're still children. Dustin's still excited that he found chocolate pudding, which I think is a good balance to the seriousness. And then we get the happy campiness of it.
Yeah, and they are all like it originated with them trying to find food for 11 as well. I mean, obviously they're getting carried away with just helping themselves as well. But 11 needed to recharge because she used her powers. So that was what Dustin rationalized it as. That was his excuse to begin with.
To be 11 again and just eat whatever you want.
Yeah,
and not have to worry about the gym, Eggos, all the artificial stuff that Kennedy Jr. is about to cut out. Listen, I get it. It's not bad for you. It's bad for you, but sometimes you want an Eggo, okay? Sometimes you want an artificial.
How's that carnivore diet going there, boss?
Oh,
Love it.
It's more like a paleo diet now because I need vegetables. I need them. I don't know how people survive without them.
Roast potatoes in gravy. Just what can you do without them?
That's like the most European thing.
Yeah,
roast
there you go.
Broccoli with roast broccoli with cheese on top of it.
Oh, okay. You've done me with the cheese there. I actually don't like stuff like cauliflower cheese. It's like saucy, textury cheese. Doesn't
like
do it for
vegan
me.
cheese. Toonie, are you in England? Are you?
UK.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
UK. That's what. So it's like it's go on.
I have a question for you.
What's
Do you
up?
like tuna and cheese on or tuna and beans on potatoes?
Jacket potato.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
yeah.
Tuna
Brilliant.
and beans on it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. Hang on. I could eat that, but I've never had tuna and beans at once on a jacket potato. I haven't done that, but I mean, I could eat it.
That's the dilemma going on now, because there's a
Right.
food reviewer from the United States that's over there who tried it and basically was like, "This is not for me, bro." And now that with Canada and the United States fighting over hockey, England and the United States over this potato and tuna and beans.
Do you know, there's never been more evidence that we are a warring species than the stuff we pick fights over. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes.
It's just anyway.
This scene also is we have Mike basically telling Eleven, "You can come live with me. My mom's a really good cook. She'll take care of you," which is kind of a red flag, not a red flag, not foreshadowing, but
The
it's the
audience knows
opposite.
it's not going to go well. The audience knows
Yeah.
it's setting up for disappointment, yeah, but like neither of the characters do. They think it's going to happen.
Poor dude. His
Yeah.
first girlfriend
Yeah.
is a mass
Poor Eleven-
murderer.
Yeah, poor 11 as well, because I mean, it's not like she knows how well things are going to work out. She's gotten this promise that it's not Mike's fault if it doesn't get kept because, well, circumstances. But it's she gets this hope that she's going to be a part of Mike's family, and then, well, circumstances that sometimes they're not your friend.
Yep.
You know.
The Brenner and the guys find him. Any thoughts, guys? Additionally,
Found them.
found them.
It's
Hopper.
always when you have a nice moment where you think things are going to work out in the end when you realize,
Yep.
something bad's happening to this character
Mhm.
real soon.
Mm-hmm. Womp womp. I don't know if they meant to do a season 2, though. It's interesting to me that they set it up not knowing if this was going to be a big hit or not.
There was no intention originally for them to do more than just this season. And if they were going to do anything else, they were going to do an anthology where they just had things in a Stranger Things type universe happening. So that was not the intention, but it had done so well. Netflix and everybody else wanted them to continue on with these characters.
Wow. I didn't know. Yeah, and here we get the iconic
Rain blow up.
yeah. Mass murdering child.
That is
Children
the-
are creepy.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, I'm never having a staring contest with someone again. I'm just telling you.
Well,
Well,
if you do it and you see some blood coming out of their nose, that's when
Nose.
you need to like run away. It's like,
Yep.
no, I'm out of here.
No.
I think they went cheap on her contacts towards the end later on, where she's got the blood red eyes. If you notice when she goes up against the Demogorgon towards the end.
Yeah, I know it's those.
It's like a black pupil with red around the rim, and I'm like, those look a little cheap, guys. You had budget for this lady. This was awesome watching this lady's head pop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't like her.
Yeah.
Boom.
I was gonna say
Oof.
I'm not. I promise I'm not trying to make a pun here, but it's just in terms of things like noticing things like the contact lenses. I actually don't have an eye for that kind of detail. It's just I didn't know a way to explain that didn't make it sound like a pun. I wasn't even trying to make the pun. It's just that was the only way to explain it, really. But
Well, I've done special effects for 13 years in Hollywood, and
Yeah.
I originally was like set design too. So to me, effects like that and set designs are the first thing, and color palettes for shows are the first things I look at, where I know like certain people will look at the writing first, the character development. To me, it's the visuals first.
yeah.
Once they get past that, then I go into the other stuff.
So dare I say you can't unsee it.
Yeah, you can't. They're really bad. When I originally saw this for the first time, I think I gave it a pass while I was watching. But now, because I had to pay attention as we're reviewing this, noticing how they like my red contacts look better than those, and mine were definitely cheaper probably than those. And I know they could have done better. But who knows? Maybe it's what they could have found, because maybe they couldn't do full cap with her because of her age. Full cap lenses are where it's basically like a it goes, you have to open the eye fully and it goes all the way around the eye, like it cups it, so the eye goes, it's like a cup, and here's your eye, and it cups over the eye like this. not like where standard contacts is just like right on the pupil, right? It's like a little thing you put there. It completely, and they hurt sometimes if you don't do them properly. And they're very painful to wear sometimes, especially if the sizing's wrong. So they probably just went with whatever is easier for an 11-year-old to wear. It's my assumption on that one.
Yeah.
I'm glad you pointed out because I never once thought to look necessarily just directly at her eyes to convey like how much of a like a strain her powers. I always thought like to like me like look to her nose for the bleeding, see how much her nostrils are bleeding every time. So I never even thought to look directly at the eyes.
Well, I think that's what they were trying to do, almost make them look like the pupil area itself was bleeding or strained in a sense. Because if you look, when we get to it, I'll freeze it. But she's got like black pupils, but it's a big red ring around it, like a thick red ring around it. So it's probably just to make it easier what an 11-year-old could wear. Because if they did full caps, those are again very painful to wear sometimes. They're not fun to put into. I've had to physically put them in actors' eyes, so I've had to hold the eye because they're not an easy thing to put on by yourself. And most of the time, people don't want to touch their own eyes, right? Especially if you don't wear contacts very frequently. So I've had to like physically hold open actors' eyes and like put them in for them. Yeah,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Brenner here. This is the moment where he was like, "I will fix you. I'll fix you. I'll take you back. I will make you better." And you think it's almost like a loving moment, but it's not. In retrospect, it's not. He's a monster. He doesn't look at her like a daughter. Like later on in the seasons where Hopper looks at her as a surrogate daughter, he looks at her like it's property. She's an experiment.
Like
this is a tool to use. Are you okay over there, Toxic? You've been quiet, which is really weird. Did Zach just take your personality and just
No, I was just reading. Sorry, I'm simultaneously like reading a lot of this.
Okay.
Stuff.
You're good. You're good.
He's vetting our trivia for the end of it.
Oh, okay. The winner
I will say this much in regards to Brenner here, doing the stream with Lance on the Outcast Creative where we talk about the shield. There's a character, Vic Mackey, and anything that he does throughout the show, we always kind of say like it's through the lens of him manipulating somebody and using him for his own nefarious, even when it seems like he's doing something altruistic or kind. And I see Brenner in that same light. Like he's just anything that he does where he's seemingly being kind to 11 or her quote unquote brothers and sisters in the lab, he's only doing it to turn them into what he wants to turn them into.
Yeah, I agree. There are points in later seasons that I feel he has a redemption for a second, and then it completely just falls flat.
Yeah, you said that before, and I went through it, and I'm like, I don't see it. I don't think that I think he's always a piece of shit.
Rewatching this episode, I agree. But there's scenes where he comes off, and again, I think it's the manipulation that you're saying, where he comes off that he actually, maybe he's taking a different look at this, a different approach. He actually cares, and then it drops. Like it's within the same sentence. Like I always
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I would also point out really quickly that that scene where she pops the heads on the MPs and the hitman woman, that is the ultimate. That was their goal. They wanted to turn her. That is exactly what they just didn't want her to turn it against them. But that's exactly what they wanted 11 to be. What was that person that can just shut people off with her mind like a switch. So, I mean, that's like the ultimate focus of what it is that she's, the problem is, the problem is just that she's a little girl and she's already like exhausted so much of her powers up to that point. So they kind of had to nerf her a little bit.
I just put that 2 and 2 together. Thank you for pointing that out. I did not realize that she basically became the killing machine that they have been trying to make her do with the assassination attempts. and turned on them. It just literally this just clicked for me. That's awesome.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you for pointing that. And this is where Joyce and Hopper find Will with this tentacle, which rewatching this thing get pulled out of his mouth was longer than I remember it being.
Yeah.
That thing is deep down in there.
That was like a living creature as well, isn't it? Like Hopper shoots it.
Yep.
It's literally, they established this in I think season 2 with the tunnel. Like these are like actual like tendrils attached to the hive mind.
Yep.
And then in season 3 when like people are getting flayed, you can literally see like the noxious fumes of the mind flayer being pumped into them. So like this thing is literally just like going down his throat, just pumping him full of who knows what. It's awful.
Oh.
Yeah, and you can see how like Hopper's struggling as well with like it's got a lot of tension in it as well. Like he's
fighting him.
Yeah. He's got to give it a lot of oomph.
Could you imagine like you're Hopper and you're like pulling on, you're like, holy crap, like how much longer do I have to keep pulling this out of this poor kid? Like,
yeah,
I'd be worried if I'm pulling organs out with it.
Yeah, I know. Like,
Yeah.
am I going to kill him in the process? Right.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I will say though, and it wiggles.
It wiggles. Oh.
Oh no.
You know what? I will say though, whoever was on the Foley team for this tentacle right here probably had a field day of an afternoon in that booth with all the fruits and vegetables just going like.
I'm gonna throw up.
Every single tomato.
Ooh. Oh, you ever like pull a hair out of your mouth like it's been too long and you're just like that to me makes me imagine like a
I feel like it's great not knowing anything about horror special effects because I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm pretty sure that was CGI.
Yeah.
Or at least a part of it was probably practical. Like they had like an extension, and he's just pulling on it to make it seem like he's pulling more out. Or it could have.
They made a dummy, and they're.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, there we go.
They made a Will dummy, and they put it in there. And I wonder. Hold on, now I gotta go back. Hold on 1 second.
Well,
sorry, we're all gonna rewatch it.
They would have had to make one for the plot, wouldn't they? For like, was it episode 3 or 4 where they fake Will's body? They could just use that one.
Fill it with something super like tough or like adhesive. There's no way I don't think that's I think that's a dummy.
Hold on, I'm trying to.
You know, it occurs to me that the rescue of Will owes so much to 1986 Aliens, both in concept and in practicality. Practicality, obviously, being the little one is being put into the hive and is going to be impregnated by the alien and stuff like that, but also in the concept in which I don't remember who pointed it out, showing the flashbacks to Hopper losing his child, kind of just like Aliens. And it's a deleted scene in Aliens. It's in the director's cut where we find out that Ripley had a child and she lost her child, passed away of old age while Ripley was floating around in space. And so that brings a lot more gravitas and gives you a little bit more meaning to her, like sacrificing everything to try to rescue Newt at the end. So in that way, that little reminder, even though we've been kind of, pigeon fed a little bit over the course of the series so far that, he had lost a daughter, she had passed away. Showing that scene reminds us that, he's lost a kid and he's not going to let his friend lose her kid. And he's going to do everything that he can to pull off a rescue.
When I saw Aliens, there's a recorded watch party on the channel about it. The whole time I'm saying, fuck this kid. Why are we worried about this kid? Why do we care about this kid? And because I watched the cut that never gave the background story to Ripley's daughter.
Right, but it's still a little kid, Nadia, you monster.
Listen, you're in space. You're up against a xenomorph. I'm sorry, every man for himself. Okay, at this point.
Wow.
All right.
And that's why the crew dies.
They're dead. Yes. All right. Can I go now?
Yeah, I'm just. But had I gotten the background, well, I think my problem was more so of why is she super attached to this kid? More so than I feel should be normal. But now, after having the background on her, somebody told me later on, it's like, oh, that makes sense. That shouldn't have been cut from the movie. That like some sort of any addition, any cut of that movie should have a reference to her daughter in some way to kind of understand why all of a sudden she's like this attached and protective of Newt, more so than just because she's just a child. Because she does come off at almost motherly right off the bat.
Yeah.
Well, I
fucking kids.
think that's just like, I mean, by all means, have that extra information that she's lost a child, but even then, I think that just characterizes her as both empathetic and maternal. It's like, yeah, it's an innocent
Fuck
little
them
kid
kids.
who's
Fuck them kids. Nope.
Wow.
Nope.
Wow.
Every man, an alien, a xenomorph? Yeah, okay. First of all, the first movie, she shouldn't have went back for the cat. And I have a cat. Sorry, I would leave my cat. It's a xenomorph. Okay. A second one, sorry, every man. Anyway, looking at the scene, the tentacle area around the mouth is CGI'd a little bit. But
Yeah.
I think you're right, Sketch. I think this is a dummy that they inserted something in and they're just pulling it out.
Honestly, I imagine it's just full of maple syrup to give it that slimy look to it.
Uh,
And pulls it out.
Blech.
More than
Probably.
likely, it's KY jelly because that's
There you
common.
go.
Oh my god, guys.
It's
I don't know
commonly
what that
used
is.
because it keeps things looking. It doesn't drop. It like keeps things looking wet longer. That's why.
Ugh.
Like when I do fire burns, when I used to do like burns and stuff, you would put it over because it makes it look like the
Sizzling.
pussiness that comes. Yeah,
all right,
that
okay.
comes on the skin. Yeah, so
I'm pretty sure the xenomorph's drool is KY jelly as well, right?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
I think
They
so.
probably
It's
did the
very
same thing for the. Go on.
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say they probably did the same thing for the Demogorgon when it drooled on Jonathan.
Well, like right here,
It's-
if we go a little like one shot later, where poor Lucas is trying to take it out with a slingshot.
Which is hilarious because it's like this thing is a creature from a different dimension, and you are shooting it with a freaking slingshot.
His table for D&D plays with the house rules that if you get a crit, it automatically does damage. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this.
Yeah.
Listen.
Look how slimy it is.
Watch this thing. Hit it. Kill him. Nope. I'll give it a minute. Netflix likes to flag things pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was adorable because to me this is them playing D&D.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, come on.
Oh, for sure.
We jumped over it a little bit, but I do appreciate that Brenner gets what's coming to him when the Demogorgon just jumps on him and eats his face.
But he comes
Yeah.
back. I thought we were done with him. But again, it makes sense. Toxic was saying that they were initially not going to do a sequel. It was just maybe going to be an anthology kind of series. This kid really thought he shot it. I was like, you know what? It would make sense. He could probably hurt him pretty well if he gets an open shot, like right in the, when the thing
Yeah,
goes,
yeah, when it-
"Ah!"
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
Very much the Jurassic Park thing. Yeah.
Now, see, if this was a D&D table, the critical hit would be the pebble flies into the Demogorgon's throat and it chokes.
Yes. And he thinks he gets it, but it's actually 11 that comes. Okay, here we go with the contacts. These are the bad contacts. Let me see if I can. Yeah, you.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. You can see it in this shot right here.
Mhm.
See where it's like the black pupil, and then there's like a really strong red outline of it.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Maybe those are full cap. Hold on. No, they wouldn't put full cap on an 11-year-old. No, those are just because her eyes are big. Or they CGI'd those contacts on. But either way, I feel like they could have done a little bit better with it.
Are they technically contacts if they're CGI'd on?
I don't know. I will say, for the most part, this season has used practical effects. So kudos to them for that. And I know later on they still continue to try to mix a balance of it. I mean, I know it's a little hard to build like a life-size mind flare that moves and stuff like that. But I will appreciate that Vecna himself goes through a makeup process. Like when the season was premiering and stuff, they had the background, all the stuff he had to do to sit in the chair for that.
The time lapse of him in the chair with his just Vecna drinking his Starbucks was a vibe. That was a vibe.
The stories I've heard of like well, not Stranger Things, but like what is it? is it Stellan Skarsgård who that is I did say that right. Didn't I?
Bill Skarsgård?
Skarsgård that goes through. He was Pennywise and Count Orlok and
Baron
his
Well,
makeup
I was
for
actually thinking
Cal.
of I was actually thinking of I think his name is Stellan. The guy who plays Will Turner's dad in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
Yes.
I've heard stories that he was like they were originally going to do him as CGI, but he insisted in sitting on a chair like 10 hours before shoot, getting makeup artists to just do him up, and you just sat there like, wow, that's commitment.
Yeah.
Well, because that's why those movies. There are some rough parts of those movies with the CGI a little bit, but they age definitely better than. I think we lost Toxic. They age better than some stuff that's recent now because they know how to mix practical and CGI well enough together, not
Yeah.
just rely heavily on one of them. I haven't seen Captain America: Brave New World, but I'm told the CGI is pretty rough.
It is.
At least the green screen and certain scenes.
There are a few things that are pretty rough in CGI with that movie. Let me tell you what.
Nick, somebody yesterday argued that Civil War is worse than Brave New World.
Oh no, see that's
What?
In
That's
CGI.
Yes,
And-
the stream I was on argued. He had some pretty decent points that he would rather watch Brave New World again, and Brave New World is not a better movie, but better in a sense, better than Civil War.
I
still wouldn't agree,
don't want to be offensive to whoever this was. I really don't. But
Oh no.
I will face that rebuttal and challenge whoever it was to prove to a T that Brave New World is the worst Captain America film and probably one of the worst MCU movies with CGI. It's worse than Ant-Man 3 Quantumania.
Okay, I'm
Like-
not gonna go that, but you lost me. I'm not going that far.
Dude, like I tell you what, like it's not. There's a lot of problems like with Red Hulk in the CGI and the destruction and chaos he has. Even the way Sam throws the freaking shield just looks so off. Like when you watch, Steve Rogers with Chris Evans throwing the shield, it looks so fluid and smooth. Whenever you see Anthony Mackie throw the shield with Sam Wilson, it just looks like it's slow, and even like the way it ricochets is just off. There's something off about it. Like it just you can clearly see like it's like a different group of people who use the CGI, which I do not get it. I don't.
Well,
Anyway,
watch that stream I was on yesterday. It's Slav, I believe, is his name. Great channel, great guy. Like he actually had decent points to why Civil War kind of falls apart.
is he talking about in a plot sense or what?
That Civil War's plot is better than Brave New. Watch the stream. Watch the stream.
You know what? Tying back to the idea of like actors having just like caked upon layers of makeup to do roles. The one I always think of now is Gary Oldman for being Churchill.
Oh yeah, and that is so. When I
Good
was in school, fantasy special effects, creature designs, everybody, it's easy to like fix mistakes. It's easy to kind of be a little bit more creative with it. My teacher always said, you will realize you are a master at your craft when you can do realistic stuff, like churn people into people who have lived in the past, or make realistic like noses and stuff. Like that stuff is the hard stuff to do. Being creature design and stuff, that's the fun stuff, right? And most of the time when on set, when there's like a scene that breaks or something, just throw something over it, you're fine. It fits in with the creature. But if you have something like that where Oldman is being changed into somebody from the past, that's harder to do, to like do the facial structures and make it look seamless. But yes, back to Stranger Things. Here's 11 saying goodbye to Mike and completely banishing the Demogorgon with herself.
So it looks like she's saying goodbye to the Demogorgon. She's waving her hand enough.
Yeah. All of this thing, just like I'm a little sad for the Demogorgon. He didn't deserve that.
What?
He's just a creature. He's just a creature.
He killed
Just-
Barb.
He doesn't know any better.
Justice for
Yeah.
Barb.
You know, for a creature whose face looks like a flower, it is remarkably not beautiful.
Yeah.
Teeth.
Ugh. And they're gone. Womp womp womp.
Wah, wah, wah.
It looks good. That's the good shot with all the school board mashed in and stuff, and all the ashes everywhere and stuff.
Does season
Or
2
Mike.
not have the teachers like question this? Like, why is there a massive hole in the school board? What?
Listen, secret government agency was here. They got that stuff fixed up by the time morning came. It was a weekend.
And this is a pretty heartbreaking scene too. I mean, granted, they're able to bring Will back, but we get cuts into Hopper's daughter dying as well, and them trying to save her in the hospital, which was a very emotional scene.
See, this
And
is
poor
how you
Joyce.
do like a flashback correctly.
Mm-hmm. Agree. And I again, I don't think these flashbacks would have been as impactful had they spread it across the season. Having it mirroring this with Will.
Yeah, and it's better, like, because we still eventually get the answers, in these flashbacks here and now. But it would have kind of ruined. It would have kind of gotten in the way of the punch of earlier moments where a character will say something like, I think Joyce says something to Hopper. I can't remember exactly what it is. It's maybe episode 2. She says something about how she's obviously torn up about Will, and she says something like, wouldn't you do this if your child went missing? And she sort of stops herself because she realizes he has lost a kid, and they don't actually say anything, but Hopper just gives her sort of like a look. It's sort of like he looks down. He gives her that look of, I'll let that comment slide because I know that you didn't mean it. But there's no flashback, there's no comment on it, but it's enough for the audience to say there's a story there, and then we get the story later in the season, near the end.
You give your audience 2 + 2. You don't give them 4.
Yeah.
Not just that. No, it's back in the day we had a little saying that went something along the lines of "show don't tell."
Yeah. I'm tired of shows that need to explain every single detail of it. That's why these shows are so impactful back in the day, because it allows your imagination to fill in the gaps, and it allows water cooler talks of theories. Like, do you think this is what's going on? Do you think this is what's going on? It's similar to that's why I enjoy watching From and having the panel for From, because even though there are some weak moments in that show,
I don't know that that's a good example, Nadia. That's not a good example.
I'm just saying it's fun to theorize, right? It's fun to have those
conversations. Agreed, but I don't know that From is a good example, because I think this show's a good example because it pays off stuff that like, oh, is Hopper, did Hopper lose a kid? Is that why yada yada yada? Did Will get subverted by the Demogorgon or the mind flayer? Yada yada yada. It answers those questions, whereas From gives you 80 questions per episode and answers 0, but gives you more questions later.
Yeah.
This show gives us answers while also like building on the ambiguity.
I like what you did there, Nadia. Do that when I talk.
I'm sorry about that. Keep going.
Keep going. The bottom mic. Anyway,
there we go. Sorry about that. I was closing the dog camera. Go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
Oh no, yeah, I'm just kind of building on what Toxic said, where like, even in the event that if this show never had any other seasons, like this season alone established something, otherworldly, and made us think and ask questions through the entire season. And they did give us answers along the way, but they also allowed us to think on our own. They didn't kind of, spoon feed us anything along the way. And then obviously, even after it's all said and done, we can still theorize and speculate, like, oh, what if this would happen? Or like, do we think this is the end? Like, it's not like a closed door and that's it. And thankfully we did get more seasons, because now after every season we kind of started to do the same thing with, like, what is the mind flayer? Is it truly gone? Sort of, so I mean, From does not do that, unfortunately.
No, it does
I know
not.
characters in this show at least communicate with
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
It might take them a couple episodes, but they do
even
communicate.
kids do that. You know,
Yes.
like
Mhm.
Yes.
like Code Red.
Okay,
Code
maybe
Red,
that was a
Code
bad example. Maybe I just enjoy talking.
No,
with
I
you
mean
all
we knew
about
we
it,
knew
so.
we knew what you meant. I'm being petty and taking a shot at From for wasting 3 or 4 years of my life.
Oh, you're not going to be back when it comes back?
I told you.
Okay.
Listen. I don't want to derail this any more than I already have. But no, I do not subscribe to the sunken cost fallacy of watching TV shows. They have burned me. I will not watch any more of that show. No. Yeah.
Well, lucky enough,
is it coming back this year or is it next year?
it's I
Who
think the
knows?
beginning of next year because they haven't even started filming yet the next
Ugh.
season.
God.
But Julie, who's usually on with us, she's been having the man in yellow. I forgot
Yeah.
what his name is. On all of her streams, like this dude is a fan of the show himself. Like he likes to theorize as well. So it's pretty cool to see an actor of the show just being one of the dudes. So
So even the actor doesn't know anything about it. I mean, I'm sure he can't say, but like,
Of course, the actor doesn't know anything about it. The writers don't know what's going on with
But-
that. show.
precisely my
He's been
point.
on-
Like,
he's been on her stream though, so that tells me also they haven't started production as well.
yeah,
I would assume
Mhm.
he's a new character that got introduced. He would be involved in the next season. We would hope.
I hear ya. Anyway,
Hopefully.
Stranger Things.
Yes. Oh,
Hey.
Will wakes up
Family
to his reunited with his family, which is very sweet. Even worried about his own brother, even after all the shit he's gone. But by the way, Toxic, I bought the comic. I actually have it downstairs. I just haven't started it yet. I'm hoping to
awesome.
read it before we come back for season 2.
I mean, that's another good example of the expanded universe type thing, and them not answering certain questions in one way, but then they answer it in another with, like what was Will doing? I mean, we can theorize, but the comic actually tells you, like what he was doing and things like that, which is, it's cool. It's a cool little side thingy.
It's a pretty thick book. It's a pretty thick boy.
Is it?
It's about like this thick. I got the
Okay.
first volume of it. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I like this also. Again, it's another way of showing that these guys are just kids. These are just kids. They're just excited to see their friend is alive and telling them like so and so peed in front of the school. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It's Jennifer. Jennifer cried at your
Yeah.
funeral. Like,
Did
I'm
they
like,
ever
this-
follow that up? Did I ever come back in other seasons or anything?
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
No.
No, but I'll tell you what, this always reminds me of this clip that I've seen on YouTube and TikTok where some girl's gone missing and this morning TV show's interviewing her two little friends, and they're like, "We miss you." They're like, can you say anything to Jennifer? If she's like, "Jennifer, we miss you." Oh, and by the way, Susie Ray is pregnant, and she cheated on her boyfriend, like giving her gossip while she's missing. And I just thought that was adorable.
Wait, is that supposed to be on the news? Like
It
that
was,
in
yeah,
the
it was.
context of
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
It was.
That's amazing.
I forgot that Hopper kind of gets taken by the government again.
I forgot that too.
I've
Yeah.
forgotten that, and I watched it like an hour before the stream.
Like, I don't know why. I don't think it's ever followed back up, is it?
I think it is in
this
season.
leads- I think
Yeah.
this leads us into Paul Reiser's character in the next
Right.
Season 2.
season, I believe.
Mhm.
They basically work together, right? Like
Right.
he allows Paul Reiser's character to continue the work
Tests on Will and things
Yeah.
like that.
to
Yeah.
make
Right.
sure, exactly like that.
Because
totally.
they're going to go after Hopper because it serves a couple purposes. One, they already know Hopper is going to make those practical decisions because as you guys pointed out many times, he gave up the location on the kids. He's ex-military. He's also a branch of the government in the fact that he's the chief of police. So he's a good lever to turn.
It's not only that, but now he's survived the Upside Down. He knows what they're doing. So like,
Oh, good point.
They're kind of
Yeah.
forced to bring him into the loop for the cleanup crew.
I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
thought of this. I believe there's a line in I want to say it's season 3, maybe it's season 2. I think it's season 3. But it's a Jaws line where he literally said, Hopper says, "I can do anything. I'm the chief of police," which is what Brody says in Jaws.
Right. The kids are playing D&D, so they're kind of back to normal. Will's with them. Mike's looking for 11 in her spot, which I thought that was, again, show us, don't tell us, right? Very
Yep.
convincing. You can tell by his emotions he misses his little girlfriend, his friend.
See,
Didn't take down his little area.
Little
Toonie brought this up before with like musical cues playing a big part of that. This is one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, you are correct.
Yeah, the radio's propped up. Like the walkie-talkie's still propped up there as well. It's not been like strewn off to the side. It's propped up as if it's waiting for her. So
Yeah.
He's kept it just how she left it.
As much as
And,
of a piece of shit as the dad is, I do admit there is nothing better than sleeping in your recliner chair.
Recliner. I know. I miss having a recliner.
Mm.
When my
Same.
T9 fractured, I lived in a recliner for a year because the only way I could sleep with my brace, and I miss having one. I also like the fact that Jonathan comes to get Will, so still protective of, obviously, of what happened, right? His brother, he wants to keep an eye on him, not have him walk home by himself or ride home. And then this is where Nancy gives Jonathan the camera.
Yep.
And at this moment, I thought, oh, these two are together for sure, or they're going to get together. And then it cuts to her snuggling up with Steve on the couch. So, yeah, I guess Zax is right. I would pick Chris. So, over creepy Jonathan. So, and then we bounce back to Hopper at the Christmas party, taking food, and then realizing he's been stashing food away, which the Egos obviously give it away that it is 11 that he's stashing food for, which is the beginning of their relationship that leads into season 2.
Right.
The thing is with him stashing food away for 11 like this, doesn't 11 just like live with him pretty much in the open-ish in season 2? Like, you know, as in she's able to like walk around his house and everything?
No,
They live in a cabin that's under his father's name that's not any way attached to him.
Right.
Yeah, hidden away in the woods too, and she's not allowed to leave it pretty much.
He's got
she doesn't go to school
set up all around the perimeter of it too.
Yep.
All right, okay.
This dog, man.
This dog is it's got very good table manners. It doesn't eat the rest of the gammon. It just eats the little scraps at the side.
This is the scene I wanted to bring up because this is the end of the episode where he coughs up the oh, did it hold on. All right, let's back up a little bit.
Yeah, this is where he goes back to the table. Yeah. He didn't even wash his hands at the end of it, by the way. I wanted to point that out.
Teenage boy.
Here it comes.
He stood in front of the...
There he is. There's Dart.
It's just like, but the best, I was like, okay, maybe that's just residual, right? You've had this thing stuck down your body. Maybe that's just residual from being there. He's got to cough up a couple of these slugs. He's fine. But
I don't know, man. The slugs are alive. I don't want them in me, you know? I don't want to take that risk.
If he's coughing them up, do you think he poops one out too?
Possibly. I mean, I don't really think about it, but I mean, you know, common sense, you assume so, maybe.
This is where he imagines himself back in the upside down. Yeah.
Then he starts planeswalking.
Had they left this with just this season, that would have been a pretty dope stinger to like leave it on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a good point. And we are done. We are done with season 1, guys. Hold on. Sorry, Nick. There we go.
Chilling in the dog corner.
I hope you don't do that. I hope you don't do that to me because I'm round enough as it is. Cheers.
Well, this was awesome. Trivia man.
Yeah, so some pretty interesting stuff on this one. Hopper wears a braided blue bracelet throughout the series, and it's explained that the origins in the flashback, we see the materials for the bracelet are his daughter Sarah's hair bands that she was wearing on the day that she got sick. So that's pretty cool. The article's pinned to the Police station bulletin board have headlines like "The Boy Who Came Back to Life," "Hawkins Lab Blocks Inquiry," "More Heads Roll in Ongoing State Trooper Scandal," "Coroner Arrested for Falsifying an Autopsy." So that's pretty cool. This episode takes place from November 12th to December 11th, 1983. That's weird. I didn't know it was that long. Oh, I guess because the aftermath of everything, that actually makes more sense.
All the epilogue stuff.
Yeah, and so after Mike, played by Finn Wolfhard, and 11 kiss, the director shouted cut. Millie got up and said, "That's kissing? That's it? That sucked." So apparently that was her first kiss that she ever had, and it was done on screen. So
with Finn Wolfhard, the ball
with Finn Wolfhard, yeah. Not Drake. I guess Drake would have to wait his turn at least a year or two later for that.
I forgot about that.
A minor. Millie Bobby Brown and Phil Wolfhard reported that before their kissing scene, they each ate an entire container of Tic Tacs. That's okay.
That's a kid thing. That's a kid.
That's kind of
the orange one.
That's got
Or,
kids
I mean,
written all over it.
Yeah.
There's probably orange Tic Tacs as well.
At the end, the boys are playing Dungeons and Dragons. Lucas, Dustin, and Will complain that the campaign was too short, being only 10 hours. This is not the fact that the first season is only 8 chapters versus the typical 13. That's interesting.
Wow. Okay. 10-hour campaign, by the way, for kids is pretty good. Just FYI, that's pretty good for a D&D campaign for little kids.
Yeah. For sure.
I don't know. If I buy a game and it's only 10 hours, I don't know, man.
Well, people used to, before TikTok, people used to have a lot more time on their hands with an attention span. This is the final time in the series that Matthew Modine, Dr. Brenner, is listed as being part of the main cast. This is also the final time that Noah Schnapp and Joe Keery are not listed as part of the main cast. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Interesting. That's most of the good stuff. Not only does Stephen King's Firestarter have a similar plot, it features a soundtrack by German electronica band Tangerine Dream. Stranger Things uses a short excerpt from Tangerine Dream piece called Horizon in this episode during the hospital flashback scene. That's interesting. Yeah. A lot of the series has a lot of allusions towards Stephen King materials. There's even little Easter eggs and inside jokes. One of the state troopers is reading, I think he's reading Cujo or something, while he's guarding the morgue. So stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, it's very Stephen King-esque, this series.
Very cool. Well, thank you. Thank you for trivia. Nick, final thoughts.
Yeah. Fantastic season. Obviously, it's a great intro to a new series that we got, almost a decade ago. Obviously, we wish that some of the seasons weren't too long in between them, but for an 8-episode season like this for Netflix, I think it's very, very rewatchable. I enjoyed going through it again, and I'll probably do it at some point down the future, just because it's fun. It's the 80s, one of the best decades that I didn't personally live through, but was born in. So
we wish we lived through.
I lived through the 80s.
Well, yeah, you're old.
Yikes.
Got him.
Toonie, final thoughts.
Final thought. I thoroughly enjoyed rewatching most of the season today. That was no. I really enjoyed season 1. I enjoyed all the characters were great. I really enjoyed that. Hopper wasn't the stereotypical obstructive cop that doesn't listen to anyone. Like he did always do his part trying to piece together the story, and he took his time to listen to people. He de-escalated situations where he could. And he tried not to talk down to people. He tried to, he played for the most part the good cop that was occasionally kind of grumpy. Whereas a lot of shows they'll have the deputy, sheriff, chief, cop stand in. They'll have him be not necessarily the bad guy, but he'll be in the way.
Agreed.
So I do like it when they'll keep things moderate in that department. When someone's supposed to be in the way, they're not like a complete asshole. They actually act like a person, not an object. But yeah, all in all, I still think I'll have to watch the rest of the seasons to have the complete thoughts, I suppose. But I still, for the time being, I think season 1 is the most enjoyable for me. From memory of season 2 and the first couple of episodes of 3, I think I don't remember being a huge fan of season 2 compared to the first one. I think the first one is very good.
Yeah. Toxic, I see you have something for me. Hold on, I added it to the stage.
Twins, yes. We're going to see the twins, yes.
Okay.
Look, I don't have time to watch Austin Powers tonight.
I've never seen Austin Powers, so
What?
Watch it. It's very good.
You and Austin Powers have something in common, as you've both dated twins.
Oh.
Twins, Basil. Twins.
Have you seen Wayne's World at least?
Yes. Fell asleep.
Well,
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
Toxic final thoughts. Let's get out of here.
Final thoughts. Great season. It's actually not my favorite, and I forgive a lot of what happens with season 4, where they kind of rewrite and restructure in order to make things work. But I do enjoy season 4 quite a bit. Only slight. I mean, obviously it can't exist without season 1, but season 4 does a lot more for me, entertainment wise. I like all of the seasons. There, season 3 obviously has its problems, but and this is great. I kind of come to terms with the fact that when something is so good, there's no way they're gonna just leave it on a season 1 unless its name is Firefly, and more power to it. It would have been pretty interesting to have this be an anthology series and them leave it here, but it's very good. I'm really glad I rewatched it. It's definitely the best written of the 4 seasons so far. So I mean, there's nothing that's going to take it, and the originality, you can't recapture that again. So it's a really stripped down story, and it's just amazing. Every episode pretty much is a banger, and I thoroughly enjoyed rewatching it for this review.
Very
Same.
cool. Firefly sucks. Sketch, go ahead.
Oh my god.
Shots fired.
Jesus.
You're not getting a break tonight, dude.
I know.
Everyone-
Apparently not.
No, listen. It's so crazy looking back at this first season now. We're like, what now? 8+ years out from it, just seeing how much of an effect it's had just on like pop culture. I mean, this is a show that like this season in particular, in conjunction with Critical Role, brought D&D back into like the limelight. It brought like 80s music and like synths hardcore back into popular appeal. It launched acting careers like of so many of these people. What's his face? Charlie Heaton. Yeah, Charlie Heaton. He's gonna be pitching. He's gonna be an Adam Driver type. That look is gonna follow him forever. Okay, I'm sorry, but he'll make something of it eventually. It brought back like the whole like xenomorph trope of like monster design, just like giant long limbs, no eyes, no face, creepiness that I love. So much about this whole season. It may not be my favorite season, but it's a damn good piece of TV.
Yeah. Season 4 is my favorite season. out of all of them.
Mhm.
And
Same.
I
Yeah.
I really,
I think
but
I
I think
agree.
I agree with Toxic. This is the better written series
Mhm.
season out of all of them.
Well,
Uh,
Toxic is
and
100% correct, though. Without this, there is no season 4 to call our favorite.
that's true. That's true. I agree with pretty much all of you on this. It is a groundbreaking. I don't think Netflix realized what they had. I think they thought they would have some kind of throwaway sci-fi show and about kids and all these tropes have been done, right? Especially if you look at Stephen King books and adaptions and such. So I think this is a good foundation for what is to come with even with season 2 and 3. I think this is a good foundation for what is to come for it. You're able to connect with each of these characters and actually care about them and to see what will happen with them with the continuous season. So Nick, what do you got going on next?
Well, I will be releasing a video review on season 3, episodes 1 through 3 on Reacher. That just came out. And then I will be doing a first episode review on 1923 that premieres Sunday night, season 2. And then stream wise, I'll be over on Diabolical Souls Gooch, his channel, Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern to wrap up season 2 of Genndy Tartakovsky's Primal.
Very cool. Toonie, do you got anything else going on? Streams?
Streams. That was something that was sort of lingering in my brain, which is a new experience for me. I won't lie. I don't usually do like review type content. My kind of stuff is usually just gaming stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was so it was interesting hearing people talk about like the review stuff that they do. Was that the question you were asking, by the way, or have I just misinterpreted that completely?
If you have any videos, anything you want to plug, your channel, everybody's
channel
links will be in the description below, but anything you have upcoming.
Upcoming, it's just I'm in the process of building my PC at the minute, so in terms of video making, it's relatively infrequent. But my main content is just gaming stuff. So up and coming, it's just sticking to that formula. There's nothing particularly unique or big or special coming out. It's just more gaming content, let's play stuff. So playthroughs. So I don't have like a big review coming out or anything like that.
That's fine. We welcome all content creators of all types, so no worries. Toxic, I see. I will bring it up.
Nice. Yeah, the book's doing pretty good. Slapdash got a lot of good reviews on it. So I'm working on the next one, hoping to have it out by St. Patty's Day. And that's it's taking up a lot of my time, but I've been able to do a lot of YouTube. I'm doing for cuffing season, I'm doing a review of 500 Days of Summer, which is my favorite non-romantic comedy. That's a romantic comedy. I was hoping to get another YouTuber like to defend Summer as I'm going to attack her and defend Tom, but I can't seem to find anybody that's really watched the movie that much or willing to get into that. So I think it's going to be a solo effort, but I'll have it out before the end of the month. Sunday, we will be doing the final episode of The Shield season 2 on Lance's channel. And we are actually, Blue Collar and I are actually also doing season 3 of Reacher. Nick, if you have a mind to, I'm sure you would be okay with it if you wanted to collab with us and jump in on that. Or I don't know if you prefer to do a solo thing with that. I've read all the books and I'm a former MP myself. So our first 2 seasons doing Reacher were pretty successful. You're more than welcome if you would like.
Yeah, DM me and we'll talk more about that.
Word.
And last but not least, Sketch. What do you got coming up?
All right. Well, as soon as we sign off here, it's back to the editing lab for me. We've got another interview coming up on Monday for the Brett Cooper show, and then next Tuesday will be another one of her solo episodes. In the meantime, for myself, now that I am fully moved into my new apartment, it is time to start focusing on getting some of my own stuff back up and running again. and hopefully I can do some of it before next weekend sucks me and Nadia's husband into the void of Monster Hunter. So, but at some point, be on the lookout. I will have more stuff, and kind of like we said, I always love to plug it. But if you like those music that has like a very like droney, eerie pulse to it, check out the short audio drama I produced called Stowaway, available on my channel.
Yep.
Fair enough. Did you say that you're doing an interview with Brett Cooper? Is that like
No,
on her channel? Or?
I'm her editor.
Oh, right. Okay. All right.
So
I love Brett Cooper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think we all do.
So
Yeah.
we got a new interview coming out Monday that needs to be worked on. So
Right.
we'll be
Okay.
working on that.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
I need to catch up with Brett Cooper's episodes. I watched two episodes of the. I don't know what she calls it. Is it just the Brett Cooper show? Or,
Just the Brett Cooper show, yes.
Yeah.
Our most recent episode for her was about Gen Z social media and just the epidemic of loneliness that they're facing as a result of it.
Mm.
As for myself, just to let everybody know who's watching the replay and who's been in the chat, you guys have been awesome. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to the Big Ship for becoming a member, gifting memberships. Toonie, thank you so much for becoming a member, and Dieter as well for gifting one. We are actually going to be on hiatus. We won't be back because I'm going to be traveling. We actually won't be back till March 14th. I'm going to talk with the team, see if we just want to jump into season 4. Maybe backtrack. We'll see. We'll figure it out. I will be taking a short break to stretch my legs, and I'll be back to be playing Until Dawn for a little bit tonight. So I'll be streaming that. And then tomorrow morning, I'll be back for X-Files First Watch Through, talking about episode 11 and 12. So, and last but not least, members only watch party tomorrow is the first watch party. It's going to be Event Horizon. So that should be a lot of fun. Yeah. Well, they voted on it, so, or somebody did. And that note, everybody's links will be in the description below. Please go subscribe to everybody here. Everybody is an amazing content creator. They're awesome. Again, we will be back March 14th, so tune in then for more Stranger Things. And until then, guys, stay spooky.